Hey, if this weekend you folks are looking to stay cool and hang around, there's a Zoom meeting this weekend, and I think you'll like it. I love the demonstrator. She is an awesome turner, a great explainer or demonstrator. Let me say that she's an awesome demonstrator of our hobby, our techniques. Nice lady from Colorado named Cindy Drozda. Cindy is going to have a program on, it's a pay-per-view. It's on threading. Yes, hand threading. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's no machine or a gizmo or device or anything else. She's going to take a hand threader and show you how to thread items. And when you watch Cindy thread something, you're going to be going, wow, it's that easy. It goes that smooth. It's that pleasant. And she explains it well. So that's available. Check out Cindy Drozda. And you probably find it. I know you'll find it on her Facebook page this week. But she does. I like her pay-per-views, but also once a month she does a free open shop thing to talk about other items around the shop and solve problems and just talk shop stuff. And I like that. And it's a great way to just expand your horizons with a very, very good turner. So I'll put that note down there, Cindy on threading. And when my boss saw that, she said, "You're going to make me another threaded jar." She sits here at night with her embroidery work, and she got a little jars that has the needles. I couldn't get to keep one out from her. She's afraid I'll give it away. That's a jar with a needle holder in the bottom of it. So I have a jar with a port across the bottom, put the needles in. It's got a little plug on it. And then the top is where the thread goes. It's a nifty little design. Got it from one of you folks. You sent it to me when I was still teaching in my shop. And, but I made hand chased threads for the top of it. And that was with the thread I built. Yes, took an old file and made my own thread. Boy, that was a challenge. Nothing else. Hey, don't forget, we gather each week and we talk about special things. Last week, Sergeant Doug Rowe popped in on us. Well, he's Professor Rowe now. He's stepped up from the Army. Yeah, Professor Rowe stopped in and talked to us a little bit about Freedom Pens. We shouldn't forget some of those special projects that we have developed over the years. This is meeting number 200, 200, right? Okay, we've been together 200 times doing this. And really, it's a great chance to visit with your friends. Look at all these folks that are piled up here that are talking to us tonight. These are our friends. You know these folks. Maybe we just started talking about Mark Soleil with his illness. And we've talked about other members and we tease about people and all because these are our friends. We get together 200 times. But when we first got started, the joke was about what materials we were using. And it was Ronnie Barnett started it with the 2x4 Club and explaining how simple it is to just get a block of 2x4. And that was early in the pandemic stage when 2x4s were going for a whole lot of money. It wasn't a cheap move, but it was an available move where folks were showing, and we were in there showing how to make things out of 2x4. See where Heather turned a couple of pieces out of construction lumber. It's all construction lumber, but you know, you can have fun with it. The 2x4 itself to say is you really need to understand how you're cutting if you're going to do something out of it, something like a southern yellow pine or a 2x4, loblolly white pine, whatever. Your tools have to be extremely sharp, and you have to be a good slicer, Mark Soleil slicer. All right, you have to be making cuts that are slices rather than gouges. You have to be able to slice the wood away. That's where you take the Cade Bolger skew techniques where you do that little fine ribbon cuts and peelings and slices. That's where you turn ink pens out of 2x4. You a brave turner to turn ink pens out of 2x4. You know why? Because you start and stop with one tool, the skew. That's what you do. You go in with that skew, you shape it up, you knock it down, you taper it both ways, you do a planing cut, and then if you really, really have to, and I mean really, really have to, you can sand it. But if you got your slicing done right, you have just peeled off all that material that's not ink pen. And you've got a beautiful finish. Same thing if you make a rolling pin or a dribble, the dibble for working in the garden and such. You will learn how to do slicing cuts. Boy, this thing's killing me tonight. Learn how to do slicing cuts. And that's why we promoted the 2x4 club. But when I was talking about Doug Rowe, we were doing Freedom Pens when Doug was still active military. And I started interacting with Doug because of Freedom Pens. I met him when he still had his feet in the sand, and he was still over there protecting our freedom. And we communicated over Freedom Pens, and we're still collecting them. I was at Clink 2 days ago, and this very old, refined man, about my age, pulls a pen out of his pocket and he says, "See this?" And he's got a pen. I said, "Yeah, that looks nice." And he says, "That's a Freedom pen." And I'm looking, I said, "Really?" And it didn't ring with me at first. And he says, "Yeah, I recognize you. I know who you are. You didn't one of the guys that get those Freedom Pens and send them to the home." And I live at the war veterans home up in Gramercy. I lived there for myself. I lived there for a while. And he says they brought a whole bunch of these pens up for us guys. And I knew the guy that brought them up there. He used to be in a club with me. And he turned about 50 pens and brought them up for Christmas gifts. Passed around to the guy. He never leaves home without it. Makes a difference. It was a gift from the people he served. So we still like to do the Freedom Pens. It makes a difference. I saw a video I did 10, 12 years ago. It's called dropping a nut. Number 186 or 76 in my lineup. It was about how to get rid of the nut on your mandrel, on your pen mandrel. Because still today I see this pen turning Facebook pages, and people show where the pens have got. They're crooked. They come out and they more on the top than on the bottom, and oblong and all this stuff. And what causes it? Most of it is because you're watching the old videos and they do that end thing on a mandrel. Don't explain that if you compress the mandrel will bend just like a piece of wire because it can't do anything else. But if you just push on the bushings rather than ends. Well, I did a video on how to modify your live center with a little soft touch to do that. And I was in the shop the other day looking for something, and I found the whole string of soft touches I made. When I was turning them on, I just spun them all out and put them on a string. And every one of them had a hole in the end of it to be used for a soft touch to push onto the end of a pen mandrel. And that brought me back to Freedom Pens. I probably got a box of pens back there. I need it when I can. I dig them out and get to spinning them. They don't have to be fancy. They just have to be a gift. That's it. It's like we did the wig stands. We did hundreds of wig stands for cancer people who need a wig. Don't have any.
Hey, Eddie.
Whoa.
Let me flip over to Kent. He wants to do quick audio and screen share check, make sure his setup is working correctly.
Sure, pop in there.
Demo.
Pop in.
Okay, let me just try this real quick.
All right, give me a second to spotlight you, Kent.
Okay,
You know what?
Gotcha.
all right, there we are. Now let's see, screen share. And golly, it's got so much other stuff on here.
You're screen sharing.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, let's get over to
This
here.
big blank screen.
There we go. You have a black background with some,
There you go. You're up.
there we go. Okay, you hear me good? We'll get
Yep.
this up to
Yes.
the top. And I've got a ton of information here, but tonight, if you want to write this down, www.kentcrowell.weebly.com. That's my webpage. I'll put it in the chat. And I got a thesis here for a 15-minute presentation. So got the article, and Jim Duxbury's pictures, and come on down here. I've got a read aloud, so you can read. You can have the computer read to you while you're cleaning the shop. I made a step-by-step here, and I'm going to try one of these links at the very bottom. A lot of stuff here. Appreciate you bearing with me. I'm not going to play all this word for word, but it's out here. And let's see if it'll get down to the bottom. Slow computer. There it goes. Now it's way down the very bottom. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to turn off this chat box, and let's see where my deal was at. Come up here a little bit. This is a Weebly webpage. It's free, but you have to have a Square account to get the free account. So that's going to work okay. So now I'm going to get over here and stop my screen share. There it is. Now it's at the top. So stop share. Okay, thank you very much. We'll be ready whenever you're ready, and Jim's on. So very good information about the pins. Man, I visited with I've done those before, and Penn State is very good about sending you a box of pin kits, and their deal is you can make the pins and send them back, and they disperse them, and they'll send you more kits. And that's just one way to do it. I know there's every sawmill group's got a different way, and I'm sure Eddie's got a good way on this deal, and especially with brand new wood turners, if they can practice a little bit, they can get it going.
We have a lot of veterans outside of military bases and take it directly to the troops that are actually deploying.
Very
Yeah,
good.
we do that, and that's what we're doing with the Sarge. Doug Rowe is
Okay.
he's actually putting it in the hands of active troops.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, they have a gift from the people they protect and serve when they go to service. And that really, boy, is it, I served, it makes a difference. Boy, does it ever make
Sure
a
does.
difference. Really does. And if you served, you know, if you didn't, you should. It's kind of corny, but it will make a difference. All right. I was invited to join a meeting the other day of a club that's online. And the guy said, "Can you join us?" So he gave me the time. And the bottom it said, "We're sitting on a tailgate waiting for you to come out and join us." Talk about, yeah, that's exactly it. Sitting on a tailgate waiting on you to come out. That's when we have a little fun. I miss that part of some of the social experiences with local clubs, is just sitting around and seeing what comes up. You know, if there's no organized, no format. A club I belonged to got to be where there was a certain time where you could talk and chat, and then there was a time that they did this, and then there was a time they did that, and then and you put everything in boxes. And the bad part was, if the demonstration didn't fit in the box, they'd stop the demonstration. Why? Well, we ran out of time. And you're watching a guy doing a really, really great demonstration. You're really into it. And they say, okay, well, we're wrapping it up. Help us pick up the stuff and we'll see y'all next month. We run kind of long a little bit. We ran long in the past and we'll run long again in the future. Somebody called me the other day about the demos tonight. What do we have, 4 or 5 lined up, Dane?
Yeah, we've got several lined up for tonight.
Yeah, because it's nice to say we have an hour-long demonstration from such and such. Joaquin did a great one for us last week. We've had Doug Miller do something really went long and covered a lot of aspects of turning and technique. And that's what we want, the technique coming out. But sometimes that little 5 minutes that you developed, the 5 minutes of replacing the center point on that mandrel, that simple little trick of getting rid of that center point on that mandrel and replacing it with a soft touch that pushes on the bushings. Somebody said, well, that's just a gizmo. They sell that tool, so you got to buy that tool. No, you don't. And that's what we're looking for. Do you have one of those little tricks in your pocket? Do you have one of those ideas? It takes 5 minutes. I think we got those 5 minutes. I really do. We can squeeze it in. If we open that door, Jim Duxbury is going to come charging through it with about 100 of those different ideas. Had a guy contact me. He wants to make an elliptical chuck to work on his, he's building a lathezilla, an ornamental, a rose engine lathe. Like I built the original lathe. He's building one very similar, using my drawings. To build one, he wants to have an elliptical chuck. Can I send him the details for my elliptical chuck? I did better than him. I gave him the free details on our website for the Duxbury chuck, the Dux chuck. And I'm sitting here looking at mine, looking at Jim's, thinking, all I did was complicated. Really, what I did was what Jim did. I just took 5 more steps to get there. Whereas I can grab it, hold it, and if you can hold it, you can turn it. Grab it, hold it, make the adjustments, and it's all right there. And all I've added is a block and a plug, a sex nut. Yeah, and it all came from shop scrap. Pardon me, Kim. Shop scrap. But and that's why we do this. You want to know how to build a Dux chuck? It's on our website. That's where it's at. And if you want to see an article on it, it's in Wood Turning. Pardon me, Wood Turning. Here comes. Wood Turning Magazine's got an article about that. And there's a couple of articles in there this month about Jim Duxbury. He's got some great articles in there every month about that. And it's not an art magazine. I'm going to be careful about telling you about that. I'll rant and rave about that organization, about that group, Wood Turning. They're out of Great Britain. It's a very fine magazine because it teaches and shares ideas about wood turning. It's not the artiste. It's not the, this is what you got to do. You want to make it look like it. No, this is me and you in the shop turning something you can go home and do, something you teach your grandson or your niece, your nephew, or the kid next door to do. These are possible projects that we can learn from every single day. And they're not, I'm not going to use the term simple. They're not so difficult that you can't share them. So, see, Jim does these things. That's what I like about it is Jim comes up with these things that the ideas come out of the shop. Well, it's sort of like that project you're going to see him and Kent working on in a little while. That's not It's not complex. You take it, you draw it on a piece of graph paper, you figure out where it's at, boom, and it's there. But you planned it out. So we get into those kind of things. I like it. That's why I like, in fact, that's why I like SWAT so much, because it's the same thing. It's down home, good, wood turning with friends. It's like a family reunion with family you really do like. And that's how I feel about it. I can't go to the SWAT. I'm told I can't travel right now. I will find somebody from SWAT to get me a shirt, because I really like my SWAT shirt. And I've got a collection of them. I get a new one for every year that I can. It's, you know, I'm going to miss the most about it, hanging out with some of you guys, some of you characters that are trouble over there at SWAT. When you realize you go through a room and you're seeing a guy there who's been there for 35 SWATs or something like that, you know, yes, they do. I see Sue popping in there. Where was Sue at? Was Sue?
Yeah.
I'm right here.
Yeah, I thought I saw Sue over there.
You
Yeah,
did.
Sue's there.
You did. I don't know why. I'm there.
There
again.
she is.
Yeah, hey Sue,
Howdy. How you doing?
already. I heard from a guy the other day about, we talked about breathing protection a while back,
Mm-hmm.
and he shopping around at Target found a whole bunch of N95 dust masks for like 1/4 of the price. They're black in color.
Okay.
And he found them at a Target store. And he bought a box of them. He says, wife looked at him crazy. Then went back the next day and bought all they had.
Yeah.
So every day he goes and shop. He never reuses them. He's smart enough to realize what comes and goes. You don't want coming and going every day.
Right.
But he said, he said his name is called a pirate because he's got that pirate mask on. But he's a member. He watches us. And he thanks you for that information on the M95 mask. Because before that, he was using a what do you call it? A John Wayne bandana.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't do anything.
No. Well, he can't arrest you for robbing a bank if you had it on, but that's some way it's going to work. But some good tips come out of what we talk about around here. And some simple tips. You got to understand that you're not going to get a lot of people go buying breathing devices and respirators and stuff. But you bring it back down to the basics where they can understand it and use it. Following a pandemic, there's a whole lot of that equipment that's out there for sale and being liquidated. Your best bet is to shop at Walmart because you know they're not going to hold on to any inventory. It comes in the front door, it's got to get out the back door, or it comes in the back door, it's got to go out the front door. If I ever get back to a Walmart again, I'll keep an eye out. Hey, don't forget, we got a little photo gallery challenge coming up around Labor Day for plates and platters. Now, I sometimes folks joke about that. What's a plate and a platter? All right. They're all the same thing. If you're a knockoff beginner, they normally start out as little bitty plates, like teacup size. The better you get and the more experience you get, you know, they kind of grow. I saw somebody from the United Kingdom turning a platter that was 42 inches in diameter.
Wow.
He was turning off the side face of the machine. Now, can you imagine the face speed at the edge of that platter when he's got it cranked up to 800 to 1,000 RPMs? What that cut speed is going to be?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to be amazing. A catch is going to be heard by the neighbors 5 doors down.
At least.
Yeah. So, but we have a challenge on that. And the challenge is simple. We just do your work, show it to us. We want you to brag on yourself, show us what you've turned. I really want to throw a personal one out to Birdhouse Bob Moffett on this. Birdhouse Bob, do a platter and decorate it. Y'all know what Bob will come up with. He'll get a strawberry out, his strawberry Turnmaster thing, and his little. Who makes the one that's got the ball, the knurling, the knurling wheels on it?
Yeah, I can't think of it either.
Wagner.
Yep.
Yeah, and play with the Wagner, and you can build your own with those knurling wheels. Those knurling wheels are available at Granger and MSC Direct. Sell those knurling wheels. All you have to do is design a holder to hold them, and have fun with that. For if you're doing spinning tops and all that, they're fun, great little decorating tools for them. But Bob Moffett, Bob, I want to see you do a platter or a plate and decorate it for us, because you can take a plain, dead, ugly piece of wood and play with it, burn some lines in it, put some decoration in it, put a couple of coves, a couple of ridges and all, and just have some fun. Practice with your tools. See what you can detail out. And you come up with something. Nobody else is going to have it. Remember, it's your work. And it's a great chance to do it. Peeking through gallery tonight. Anybody got gallery to show off tonight? Let's pop in there, put them in there, have something to show. I mean, we have guys that turn every week just to come here and show us what they turned. And we see some remarkable pieces of work. And it all gets to cooking. Doesn't it get you thinking about it? What can I come up with? Where can I have this and where I can have that? So if you have gallery, throw it in the chat and Dane will introduce you. And when he starts introducing you, start talking to us so he can find you. There's
Speaking of which,
66 other folks out there staying quiet. Oh no, it's Grinstead again.
oh no,
Yeah. Oh my goodness, guys. All right.
let's go to Doug here. He's got something.
Yeah, Doug's first.
Okay. All right. No problem. It doesn't matter. I get moved around. First things first, Eddie was already talking about it. Last night I was turning a piece, and I'll show you the piece I was turning here in a second, but there's a soft touch. It was needed. I just pulled it out, stuck it on my live center, and that particular one, typically we thread the inside of that so it threads on. This one was drilled too big. I used the wrong drill. And it's too big, so it just slips on, but it worked beautifully. Speaking of which, this is what I turned last night. This was on a live demo on YouTube.
Oh, I like that. I like
Nice
that.
piece of box elder. Well, it's funny. One side is just kind of spalted and blue stain, and the other side there's red, and that's in the bottom, in the base as well. This was an interesting.
That is beautiful.
The whole chunk of wood had a crack going through it, and that crack ended up in my foot. And so I stopped my demo just a little early so I wouldn't lose that piece, glued it, got it all situated, and it's all finished now. It's waxed on the bottom and everything. Turned out real nice. 5.5 inches tall, I believe it is, 5 or 5.5. And I used the soft touch on it just to keep from sticking the point back in my bottom. I'd already cut this off so I could finish it up. Anyway, then what was it? Monday, I guess it was. I came in, needed to do a little something. And so I turned this little piece, just a little chunk of wood that was sitting in the floor in my way. Has some beautiful spalting in one side of it. Over here where the pith is, nice dark wood, got a little split in it, but that's a natural spot. It kind of goes along with the piece. Same on the other side, a bit of a split right through the pith. There's just the natural wood. Several have asked what this is. I was thinking just call it fogwood. In fact, I labeled it fogwood on the bottom, but I'm pretty sure that is some spalted maple, came out of the yard, just a piece of a limb that fell out of a silver maple tree that I've got in the backyard. So well, there you have it. Nice
Beautiful.
grain, the crosses in the center. Came out real nice.
Hey Doug,
Yes, sir.
on your goblet, is there
Yeah.
certain rule you use on your pedestal base? It looks like it's about the same size as the top of the
Oh.
cup.
Talking about to get the size here.
Yes.
I don't. I go by eyeball on the goblets, try to get them pretty close to the same, maybe just a hair smaller. This one is actually, I haven't measured it. It may be just a touch larger. I'll measure it out for you here in a second. Oops, not that far. Actually the cup is just a hair larger. So that's probably what it ought to be, just a touch bigger. You don't want it a whole lot bigger. You get this too small and it gets tippy. This is not tippy at all. It sits real solid. Even if it was full of something, it would sit real solid.
Thank you.
If you want to look at shapes before you cut them, there are catalogs for glassware, etc., that's available online, and you'll see these outlines. Sometimes it's good if you sketch it out on something first to just get an idea of
Absolutely.
if you want to look head heavy or butt heavy. I'd rather it be head heavy myself rather than have a huge bottom. Huge
Right.
bottom looks like you're trying to make up for something.
Yeah, there was a great discussion on goblets in one of the Facebook pages where a big group was saying your base has to be larger than your cup. Others saying your base had to be smaller than your cup. And one guy came in and said, I just came in from the kitchen. I measured every single wine glass we've got. He said, not a one of those has a base larger than the cup. Every last one of his commercially made wine glasses, the base was not much, but just slightly smaller than the cup.
Yeah, if you look online at wine goblets and goblets in general, you see that the base is ever so slightly smaller than the largest diameter of the bowl. I actually prefer them almost exactly the same size, or the base a little bit larger. You can make the base thin, short, and that'll take away the clunkiness of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you make that base, I'm with you, Doug. If you make that base noticeably smaller, it looks top heavy and awkward.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't want it bigger and where it looks grounded, but you don't want it tippy either.
Yeah. So, I mean, a good guideline is about the same size, maybe a hair smaller.
Right. Yeah, if at most this one, this base may be an 1/8 of an inch smaller, maybe even less than that, but it is smaller, just a hair.
Now,
Brad,
something that's interesting is if you look at if you do the same Google search and you look image search and you look at chalices, like church chalices, the bases are always larger for church chalices.
They're heavy pieces. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't knock them over.
They start
Exactly.
higher and they get broader. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're usually taller, bigger pieces too. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Very good discussion. Thank you, guys. All right, let's go to Dave.
You
Gotcha,
surprised me.
Dave.
You surprised me.
Got to pay attention. I'm quick. You know that.
Well, I was decided I wouldn't want to make a rattle for a friend of mine who is about to become a grandfather. And I was just beginning sanding when I realized I had TVs flying all over the shop. So I'm thinking of just cutting it off right here and having a one-ended rattle.
Sure.
But
That's a good idea.
yeah, this was the second one. I've got plenty of BBs all over my floor if I can ever find them all. But it's been fun.
It won't be
And-
stereo.
And it rattles.
Good
There
job.
you go.
It won't be stereo with just one end.
Yeah,
Won't be in stereo.
it'd be a mono. I guess it'll work.
You can't convince kids today that there is mono. I mean, not mono. Mono, what's that?
Yeah.
They don't understand.
Binaural.
All right.
Well,
Here
I have a
to,
feeling Grandpa will hang on to it, but who knows?
Let's see, Joaquin, you're up next. You need to start your video.
All right, I started it. You caught me. You fast. You're too fast. Hang on a second. Let me
Then as you
turn the
there you
light on
go.
here. I have a goblet that kind of breaks all those rules.
What rules?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Rules?
That'll work.
We don't
Now
need
that's
no
two
freaking
pieces. Hang on a
rules.
second. Let me get there. We got a better light. That's two pieces. I did the cup, and you can see I had the rim. This actually came up to the rim, but it snapped off while I was hand sanding it. But I tend to lean towards the absurd as far as stem length, just because it's attractive to me. I just like it, and it kind of turned out pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's one.
That looks great.
Hang on
Not
just
gonna
a
drink
second.
much from it.
No, it leaks really badly. It was an experiment. It was a proof of concept. Hang on. There it is. Finished this little box today. It's the better half's birthday, and she's a fan of Grogu. So it's a little piece of purple heart, and that is cross grain. Hang on, I don't have enough hands. It's friction fit. Give me a second here. Oh, you can still see. Cool. My camera just reaches over the lip of the light box. So here you go, little nice little purple heart.
Beautiful.
And that's I love that there's curl. Let's see if we can get you close enough you can see it. There's see the curl? There's
Oh,
like
yeah.
some really, I've never seen a piece of purple heart with that much character in it. It's got a lot of neat little curly features in it, so that's cool. And then I was working on the Delta, the Rockwell Delta. Let me turn another light on because this is too big for the light box. But this is a recycled piece of ash furniture. It was like a stair baluster or something, and came from an old furniture factory. And it was just right. Like I've got hardware coming for the bottom, but there's a little cane or walking stick, and I broke in a Sheffield wood turning steady rest turning this, and pretty impressed with that piece of equipment. It's great. It's a great tool. Oh, and there's the Mastiff.
How tall is that stick, Joaquin?
This one is 33 inches, and it'll be about 35 with the brass hardware from Veritas on the bottom.
Thank you.
So, and this is really, really old ash. This is probably 70 or 80-year-old piece of ash. It's really nice. There's some really cool character in it.
And Dane, thank you for not making me follow him.
That's all.
What kind of finish
Nice
did you
job,
put on
Joaquin.
that?
That's just boiled linseed oil.
Okay.
That's sanded to 240 and BLO.
Yeah.
It's a good bulletproof finish because when you get scarred up, touch up is instant.
Yep. That's why any kind of tool handles, and usually when I use ash, I use BLO.
Very nice, Joaquin. Thank you.
The camera is sort of distorting that. Is it tapered or not?
No,
Yes,
it's not. It's
tapered.
1 inch. It's just,
Oh, it's 1 inch all the way down?
yeah, that's just precession. That's lens precession.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a solid inch all the way. Well, to be very honest, if you hold it and let it drop, it's got a wee bit of a wide spot right here that might be 1 1/32. But for the most part, it's an inch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it definitely looks tapered.
Yeah. Cool.
Very cool. All right, let's go to Mansfield. Hey, Bob.
That's all right. Yeah, now I got it unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, good. I just got this message on the screen here. All right, I was talking to Dane earlier this week, and I have a bowl here that I tried to stain, and I did stain it. This is a piece of pecan, and it was very plain. There was nothing in it, no character at all. And I was trying to stain it like a Dane had. He put the black and the red on it, and I had a little problem with that. Once the black hit these grooves, the rings around here, well, it bled through to the middle. So then I had to make the inside darker to cover all that up. But it turned out fine. It's just it's a pretty color, and it all turned out all right.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
beautiful.
Yeah,
It
because
really brought out-
compared to the plain pecan, absolutely.
Yeah, it was plain, just a plain white bowl. I just wanted to try to dress it up a little bit. But anyway, that was my try. I'll have to try some more and see if I can't do something a little different. Maybe it was a little too thin, and of course the cracks, that stain dye is going to go right in those cracks, real easy. And this one, it actually went all the way through. It just made it look terrible on the inside. But that's it. That's what I had.
It turned out great.
Looks
Okay.
nice. Looks great. All right, let's go to Terry.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
I
You
just
want
wanted to
Matt?
talk a little bit. I don't have a lot to show. I just wanted to talk a little bit. A couple of weeks ago, I worked on trying to see if I could do a demo from the shop, and it seemed to work out pretty good. But what I had in mind was showing the threading machine that I'm using, a homemade one. And I come to the conclusion that it's complicated to do a demo on it. By the time people figure out what to get and what they need to use, it probably wouldn't make a very good demo. And I drew up a cheat sheet trying to save everything you needed and some on that. And I tried to email it, but it said the file was too big and I couldn't get it through. So what I wanted to say is if anybody is interested in it, I'll put my phone number in the chat. And if you really think you'd like to do it, I can give you all the information on what you need. And maybe we could even FaceTime and I could do a little demonstration on that. I just don't think there would be enough interest in taking up the time for possibly a couple of demos to try to show it on here. It's a little complicated, but it does work excellent. These are some of the threads that I cut with it before. And you can cut threads on anything. Like I showed a couple of weeks ago, I come up perfect threads on 2x4 material. And a little later on, when I get off here, I'll put my phone number and some information in the chat. And if anybody's really interested, they can contact me and I'll help walk them through it and set it up. And I've even got a couple of cutting bits and some collets that I could mail out and tell you everything you need to know. But that's all, pretty much all I wanted to say is if anybody is interested, let me know and I'll leave my phone number in the chat.
Dane, sign him up. Demo.
I wouldn't mind doing it, but I don't think we'd have that much interest. It's
Oh, yeah.
kind of complicated by the time you get the cross slide vise and everything. I'd be more than willing to try it, but
You've got people's interest, Terry, believe me.
Yeah, Terry, do it.
One at a time, please.
Okay.
Terry, people are interested in seeing it, whether they want to be able to build a device, at this moment or in the short term, that's irrelevant, but being able to see what you're able to do with it, that's the learning experience for the group.
I'd be more than happy to give it a shot, Dane. Sign me up.
Okay.
We'll get together and do it.
I'll take your number down when you post it here, and I'll give you a call here in a couple of days, and we'll get something squared away.
Terry, I
Okay.
want to take it one step further. It's not what would be relevant now. Remember, what we do doesn't go away. It goes into our archives, which was in 6 months, if Dave Kingsley says, I like to, oh, I wish I could do that thing with that threading again. Well, Dave can go look it up. It's going to be on our website.
Mm-hmm.
So you see
I'd
what
be
you're
more
doing? You're putting it out there for them forever.
I'd be more than happy to give it a shot. Like I
I'm
say,
in
I wouldn't be too
Southwest
quick
Florida.
and might
And-
even have to go into a couple of meetings, but
Can
by the time you get it all
That'll
set up, or we can just go through it. But
Thursday.
if Dane wants
or
to
Friday
sign me up,
morning.
I'd be more than happy to try it.
Absolutely.
Terry.
We'll
And
get, we'll
If
get
you,
it squared away,
if you
Terry.
guys,
Sounds great.
if you guys wanted to do a separate Zoom meeting, I'd be happy to host something like that too.
Okay, we'll try it on a regular meeting, see how it goes.
Okay,
If we
thanks,
have to
Terry.
add to it, we can.
Yep, we can always split it up. It's no issue at all. Thank
Okay,
you very much for sharing that with us.
well, you're more than welcome. I'd love to do it.
All right, that's great. Now I don't feel bad about twisting your arm.
Twist,
All
twist.
right, let's go to Don here. Hey, Don.
Hello.
Don.
Yes, I'm here. I tried to unmute myself.
You're muted.
Got you.
Okay. Well, I have an 1836 Laguna, and I decided to make something that was probably bigger than I needed to make.
Ooh,
It's 17 3/4. And it was when I flipped it over to take off the tenon, it wouldn't recenter itself, so I was always hitting. So I ended up sawing it off and then sanding down the bottom so that it was beautiful. But
Anywhere close.
It's nice.
it's
kind of
you know
wood?
I believe it's fogwood.
Oh, okay, Fogwood.
Not
certified.
quite sure,
Okay.
but and then my next project was something more my ability. So this is probably 2.5 inches and about 1.5 inches tall. But I'm very proud of it, and I'm giving it away to a neighbor who likes to throw parties. So chances are it won't be in the challenge that Eddie mentioned earlier, where you make a platter and show it off. But
Hey, you can always borrow it back,
I could, but
or you
then
can bring us to the party.
I might forget to give it back.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. But like I said, it's 17 3/4 from one edge to the other. And the arms are only so long, so it's a little hard to get it all in there. But
That's beautiful.
I'm still a beginner, but I'm getting better. And it's also a little bit of wormwood, because let's see, I can get it in there. I had to fill it with epoxy over here.
Mm.
And it was a little issue, nothing big. It was more that suddenly became a lazy Susan as I'm trying to sand it away, because the base just kind of spun on its own. It wasn't a bad thing, but if it's sitting on a countertop and you spin it and it flies off, it's a top. And and food everywhere. But I was very proud of it, and I'm more than happy to show it off. So, and like I said,
Right
I'm
on.
a beginner.
No, sir. No, sir.
doing well.
You are not a beginner. You're a wood turner.
But
Yeah.
the
Let's
issue
clarify
was
that.
I couldn't figure out how to reposition it, because every time I corrected, when I flipped it over to get it centered, the other side would hit. So it's like, I took shims, lifted it up, but it still just didn't quite work out. So, but I got it done. That was the important thing.
Yes.
You overcame. That's good.
Nice job.
Thank
Nice
you.
piece.
beautiful
Thank you
work.
very much.
Nice piece. All right, let's go to Ruby.
Ruby's back.
Ruby,
Yeah, I
you're
came
back.
back like a bad penny, you know. Well, I finished up all my serious commissions and then I decided to get somewhat frivolous. And in the process, as you can see by these guys, I was invaded in my shop. So they weren't really big enough to turn, so just made them into something a little bit more fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Then I decided, okay, I was given a piece of 2x10 pine and I turned that. And then I got invaded by these characters.
Oh, got the mousers.
Now the eyes on them are all different. Like there's blue ones, pink ones, and this one's green. And that's because I just used straight pins from the dollar store.
There you go.
So, and then this was a piece of 2x10 construction pine from a construction site.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Very
So
nice.
it wasn't a very big piece. You know, it was the 1.5 that 2x usually is. and
Wow.
10 inches square. So that was what it ended up.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
It
And
is good.
What is that? What is that texture, Ruby? How did you do
then,
that?
I just put a little bit in my Dremel and just touched it. You can do the same thing. I did one years ago, similar to this, in a nice hard maple with a burning bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it looks pretty, Rick.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
And then I had a request from the wood mill to do something up for towards Christmas. So this was the prototype for them.
Nice.
Just taking up some more of these logs that were left. This one had a
Oh my
nice crack in
goodness.
it.
Hmm.
And
feature.
what he wants to do is put the name of each of the workers down here in front of theirs at the wood mill, you know, with a little chain to hold it on, and have them in the shop at Christmas time. That
Cool.
might give somebody here an idea of something they can start planning out for Christmas.
I like the
Yes.
crack.
That,
love
that's, yeah, it's a great idea. So simple. So
Very
great.
cool.
Yep, yeah, I'm sure they'll sell well. Yep. Thanks, Ruby.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Nice
Good
job.
stuff.
Yeah, I don't have any of my serious turnings. The all the balusters that I did, excuse me, recently, because they're all being installed as we speak. So
Very well.
they were fun to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first 10, maybe.
No, actually, what you do is you make up a storyboard
Right.
and you do the 2 pummel cuts at the end. And then you lay, and between the 2 pummel cuts, you turn it round. And then you lay your storyboard on. And I use one color to mark the high points, one color to mark the lowest points, and then like a black for in between. And they turn very, very quickly. Like the first one you lay out, you might take half an hour on. And then after that, they probably take you about 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
How many do you have to make?
I only had about 30 this time around.
Oh, that's not too bad. That's not too bad.
Hey, Ruby, you're another beetle.
Another what?
You're another beetle. You're just that famous, believe me. Believe me, you are. I'll tell you.
Yep.
I'm just an ordinary person like all the rest of you. The only advice I always give people is go out of your way to learn from whoever you can.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
instead of taking a vacation down on a beach down south somewhere, I'd rather go somewhere and spend a week at a school learning a new technique.
Sure.
So that's like when I wanted to learn how to make these. I saw this technique, and it's a very old German Austrian style of turning.
Mm,
And these are just pine. I haven't even put a finish on them, but I wanted to learn how they were done. So I went to Austria and spent a week learning how to make them.
there you go.
Wow.
Pretty.
Are those turned thin?
They're actually about 3 mil thin. I could
Okay.
have made them thinner, but my opinion on that is, why do I want to make something so thin that if I drop it, it's going to break?
Sure.
So
I was just
I left them a little thicker for that reason.
right. I was just asking because of the piercing. Sometimes you need it thin just to be able to pierce without burning it quite so badly.
Well, the secret to these is that this was all pierced before it was hollowed.
Oh, that's interesting.
What you actually do is, while the piece is on the lathe, you lay out where these parts are going to be,
Mm-hmm.
and you take ordinary carving chisels, and you make, and a hammer, and you hammer those shapes all the way around. And then when you turn it out, those little pieces just drop out.
Okay.
Neat.
That's how I do yarn bowls. I always drill the hole for the yarn before I turn it, because then when you
Right.
turn it away, there's no tear out.
Right.
Exactly.
Good idea.
Yeah, there's
Same with
all
three
kinds of
handles.
stuff you can learn. It's just, how committed are you to trying to improve and learn new techniques?
Sure.
That's really neat, Ruby. Thank you.
Well
Thank you,
said,
Ruby.
Ruby.
Thank you, Ruby.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's go to this guy. So I found a core from the other 4 or 5 that I had done. And so I got this all finished up. It's 7.5 by 3. Got the matching purple and red dye scheme on the bottom. Arizona ash. As you can see, it's very boring grain.
I think it's gorgeous.
I think it's pretty.
And a nice tongue oil finish.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I like the finish. I do.
What
So
kind of
there's-
finish
now,
did you say it was?
tongue oil.
What kind of finish?
Tongue oil.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So there's that.
How did you keep the dye from going through on the cracks?
So I do the outside of the bowl, carve the outside of the bowl first. And then I dye it. And then I seal it. I use boiled linseed oil as my sanding sealer. And then I add a layer of Parfix 3408. So the dye doesn't rub off or, from handling. We're just getting into it. And then from there, when I flip it around, that's when I carve the inside out.
Pretty.
Looks good. That's beautiful.
Nice shot.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gorgeous, gorgeous.
All right, let's go to
Another
Harber.
great.
Hey, Dane, can I have a second?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let me pop in here for one moment. Because something happened a few moments ago. I caught it. I know you might have caught it. But we were talking to Terry about a threading demonstration.
Yes.
And something came up. I heard it in the background. And I know I heard somebody say, if we had to do another demo or another Zoom meeting, that could happen. Are you kidding me? Or you can, did we find, no, it took 200 meetings for us to finally get all this together, for us to realize, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can have expansions on this meeting, and we can have special meetings for special events. So if we want to do something special and it doesn't happen on Wednesday evening, 6 o'clock Central Time, we can have it at whatever, whenever. And it can all be by Zoom, recorded and put onto our website. So yes, Matt, we heard you. Yes, we can do that. Yes, to anybody else, we can do that. We can make this happen. This is what we've been trying for 200 meetings. This is where we wanted to go. We're doing what nobody else does. We're getting everybody on a tailgate. Everybody out there on a tailgate, all getting together. And I'm inviting you to do so. Come on, join, get in there. Bring a friend. This is what we're supposed to be doing. This is, oh man. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to get this worked up right now. But
Calm down, Eddie. Calm down.
Thank you, Matt. You made my evening, bud. You really, really did.
Yep.
This is what it's about.
You,
But
you know me, I'm always willing to demo anything at any time. So it's like, if I can help anybody learn something, I'm happy to. It's my tailgate or your tailgate, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
but that's the beauty. It's the beauty of what we're doing. We're here to share. And we don't have any restrictions. I don't have to go check with my boss to see if we can do this. There is no boss. There's all you folks, all my friends out there. We want to share this. So thank you. We will take you up on that one day. We definitely will. And we're always.
I wouldn't want to take it away from the group membership. If everybody wants to see something, that's perfectly fine with me too. So, yeah.
It's not, I don't believe it's taking it away.
Okay, cool.
I believe
that.
Expansion is expansion. That's I got, when we formed this club 4 years ago, well, somebody in my old club said, you're just stealing members away. And I was hurt by that because that's not what I was doing. And there are some members in here tonight of the club I used to belong to locally. And some folks said, well, I don't have time for that. But we're seeing the same people here week after week after week. And it's good. It's good to visit with our friends. It is. We tease them a lot. We make fun of them. We joke with them. We have some little cliches going, little things going back and forth. We joke about people. Earlier we talked about Birdhouse Bob, making a platter and decorating it. Why do y'all call him Birdhouse Bob? If you've been around, you'll understand that in about a heartbeat.
Exactly.
It's like Band-Aid Brenda. It's we all have our little things, and things pop up. We're all on the tailgate. I love to say that we're all sitting on the tailgate. Bring a friend. I see each week that Dane invites more and more folks to our Facebook page, and they're out there and they're joining us. If you can't make a live show, we have the world's greatest wood turning website hosted by the world's greatest webmaster. Dave Rose puts it together for us. There is nothing to compare it to. There is nothing out there to compare it to. It's dedicated to wood turning. It's not a business. It's not associated with selling of anything. It is just wood turners. And where does all stuff come from? It's amazing. It comes from you. It comes from you. I mean, right now we're talking to Kent. Kent says, I have this document to make up. In our chat tonight, Kent, there are about 4 different ways. For you to send that information to Dave Rhodes, but 4 different systems for you to do so. And all of them are free, for we can get that and share it on our website. And if you talk about something, I can't get that done, I can't get this done, I can't get that, it's right there. We have 100 people sitting there right now saying, wait. I know the solution for this. And I know there's no hierarchy. And I know I can share it and you can get it. I mean, SWAT's coming up in 4 weeks. Tim Hatch is out there in Bastrop, Texas. We think Tim's still around. Bastrop, it almost melted. It came close to melting. They hit 193 degrees the other day. It was kind of warm, but Tim's telling you if you want to camp out up there to go to SWAT, there's his places to go. You want to register, the registration and all. You just want to stay in a hotel. I canceled my reservation today at the Courtyard Marriott, so there's an open spot there. But there's plenty of, and I tell you, it's a lovely town, and it's a dry heat. Don't worry about that 100-something degrees. It's just a dry heat. It's a beautiful place to visit, and you will come back with some stuff. You will, and be sure you bring pocket money.
Eddie, the convention center's got AC, so you don't have to worry about the heat.
That's right.
I tell you, I always go with a jacket, always, because it's nice there. But the beauty is you got the warmth of all your friends, because there is no hierarchy there. There's not a place in the building you can't stand and meet a friend without greeting a friend, and that's the beauty of it. I mean, you'll hear people all over the place. And you wonder what all these damn rednecks hollering about. They're just having a good time. Yeah. And Jim Duxbury said he rented an Airbnb right down the street from the convention center. So, hey, Dux will be there.
You got it.
His wife is bringing Duxbury. That's
good. And the bird.
Duxbury. Yeah.
And the bird.
And the bird. Wow.
All right.
Got to take the bird.
But I'm so happy tonight to hear that we can expand this.
Yeah.
200 meetings. We're expanding.
Yeah, we can actually, we can do that.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Time will tell here. We'll see what the interest is. If there's a good topic and we want to split it out, for another meeting, I'd be more than happy to open it up and we get it on. So just got to figure it out and make sure it's worthwhile for the folks that want to attend.
Yeah, and it won't take away from what we're doing. Just going to add to it. Just always going to add to it. That's the important thing.
Yep, it's easy to do.
Because it's somebody.
Easy to do.
We had a very controversial issue a couple of weeks ago, and it came up. Somebody sent me something about, are we going to prohibit this? We don't prohibit anything, folks.
Yeah,
we don't. It's not our job. Our job is to share. This thing was formed, really created while I was at SWAT, because it was just a matter of, what do you have to do to share this information? Boom. Sit down with your friends on a tailgate and talk about it. And I love it. I love it. That's really, that's what I miss the most about not being able to do this. I'm having withdrawals. But Matt brought me back a little bit. Tonight. This is good. This is good.
Matt, turns out Matt's good for something, isn't he?
Yeah.
I did not make that comment. Matt, I didn't say that. Matt?
I know who did. Eddie.
Okay. I said enough last week about you. I said enough last week about you. I mean, I didn't mean, wait.
Hey, nothing came off the lathe during the demo. That's all I'm happy. I'm happy.
Heather,
hey, man. Hey, did y'all see that?
Heather, you're coming through Tucson. Am I considered a friend?
Did I see that? Are things loose enough tonight that we have Cade back in his shop tonight?
He is.
Yeah. Hey, Eddie. Hey, everyone. Hope all is well. Working away.
How's my cash doing?
Oh, he's doing good. He's a tank. He's growing like a weed. He climbed out of his crib last night and met us at the door this morning when he was crying. So we switched it into a big boy bed now because we don't want him falling and breaking an arm or nothing. So we're like, how the hell do you get out of there without a scratch or a bump? But he's a climber, and yeah,
There you
he's
go.
getting big. He's like 38 pounds, 3 feet tall now, and he's only 2 years
Oh
old.
my word, yeah.
Oh,
He'll
wow.
be 6 feet tall when he's full grown.
Mm.
You get those storms yet, Cade? That came through here a couple hours ago? Looks like
No, we're actually just called for it. I just got a notification on my phone,
Yeah.
and my phone died. I walked across the road to get a bottle of pop, and I looked at the skies are looking pretty rough, so we're gonna get hit here pretty good shortly, I'm sure.
Yeah, I just checked radar. It looks like it's nearly there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
it
it
was
a good
pretty,
one?
it was pretty wicked when it passed through here.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Hey
Yeah,
Ruby.
there
How you
was
doing?
hail and stuff too. So yeah,
Wow,
it's good.
that's cool. I'm actually gonna be in Windsor in a few weeks. I'm going down for Southern Canadian Classic Archery Tournament.
Ah.
Well, if you message me ahead of time, you're welcome to come by.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, it's the 18th, 19th, and 20th. So I'll be camping out on site. They allow us to camp out, so it'll be cool. It's huge. There's people from all over Canada and people from the States come up for the big archery tournament, so that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, great.
So all the shoots are in the morning, so we have the afternoons free to be a tourist or socialize or get around. So yeah, for sure. Maybe I'll take you up on that. I can pop by. We can
Yeah.
chat turning and
Yeah, I'm on Messenger, so just let me know.
okay. I have you on Facebook. And I'd like
Okay.
to see the point. I've never been to that park where it's the southernmost furthest point of Canada. So I might have to check that out while I'm down there.
Make
Point
sure you have
Pele.
some mosquito repellent.
Okay. Yeah, I got bottles and bottles of it because when I'm doing the 3D archery tournaments, we're deep in the bush. So there's nothing like trying to concentrate and shoot a bow when you're just covered in
Eaten
mosquitoes,
alive.
black flies, and all that stuff. So yeah, I'll be prepared. But yeah, thanks. I'll give you a shout.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Eddie, let's go to safety.
Safety Sue is the way.
Hey, Sue.
Hey, Sue.
How's everybody tonight?
Doing good.
Matt, you know I love you, buddy. That's why I said that.
Uh-oh, what'd I do?
You do great.
Um,
For safety, and I hope everybody was safe this week, I want to go back to basics. We're going to go back to the basics series like I started a few weeks ago. And we're going to talk about shoes. A lot of
good.
people want
Good
to
one.
wear flip-flops, especially if you're in the southern states where it's boiling hot. You want to wear comfortable shoes. And a lot of people wear Crocs or some derivative of the Crocs. They're making them in all different, by all different companies, and they're really comfortable. However, especially the ones with the holes in them, if you drop a tool, it's not going to do you any good. You might as well have flip-flops on. So be careful of what you're wearing. Wear a good shoe. I'm not saying go out and spend $200 on a shoe. What I'm saying is wear something that's leather. You don't have to get composite toes or steel toes. But if you've got a nice shoe on, one that's going to keep you steady and not rock you back and forth, you want good footing. I have some leather Pro-Pays or however you pronounce it, but I also use Timberline Oxfords. So either way, wear a shoe that's comfortable. And also, if you're on your feet for a couple of hours, you want to have some cushion under your feet, whether that is a comfort mat or whether it's the 3/4 inch mat you can buy and put together like a puzzle or whatever it is. You need to be comfortable so you don't mess up your back. We can have all kinds of muscle problems being turners, whether it be carpal tunnel, it could be your shoulders, it could be your hands. It could be your back, it could be your legs. So we need to take care of ourselves so that we can go further into our turning enjoyable experience. And I hope you're all safe this week. So take care of yourselves.
Thank you,
Right
Sue.
on. Thanks, Sue.
Thanks, Sue.
You're welcome.
All right.
Great job.
Eddie, we're going to go back to
Thank
you
you,
for a little
Sue.
bit of housekeeping, and then we're going to go to our first demonstration. How's that sound?
Sounds great to me. Wow. And a good evening, folks. And we talk about demonstrations. Where do these demonstrations come from? Right there. See the guy sitting at your computer? That right there. Yeah. That Turner, that's a demonstrator. And that's what we're looking for. And that's where we get our folks at. We don't pay for our demonstrators. These folks come forward to share the information they have, benefit us with technique. And we said somebody a little while ago, I like to, Ruby said that, I like to go watch their technique. Yes, the most enjoyable vacation I've had in a long, long time was I went to Aramont and I spent the week with Ellie Avasara. Now, Ellie was just, that was 15 years ago or more. Ellie was just beginning his demonstrations in America. And it assigned somebody to help him converse with the class. The guy they assigned was busy with other activities. And I got to go one-on-one with Ellie for the entire 5 days of that class. And I tell you what, I couldn't have interviewed him harder and gotten more information. It was just a pleasure to watch his technique, watch what he did. He taught me how to use a skew to do barbels and little fine cuts, how to resharpen my skew, how to shape it, what the angles were the critical part of it. He was like, I cut mine to this, and this. And he explained that if you overdo it, it's too fine and it won't hold up. And if you underdo it, it's too coarse, and et cetera, et cetera. The technique is what I went for. I didn't want to see how he did his work. I wanted to see how he did his work. And I learned a lot. You will experience that with us. We want you, if you've got technique, share that technique. Come on and show us. Show us what you can do. Give us your your tricks, your ideas. And that's, we've had some really beautiful stuff come from that. And it all goes to the world's greatest wood turning website, worldwidewoodturners.org. There's no competition. It's all there. If you have something you'd like to share with this organization, if you have an idea, a drawing, a map, whatever, it goes there. You send it to David Rose. David puts it right in the site, and we don't hesitate. It's a belief that if it deals with wood turning and it's fair, it's fair. And got some great tips and hints. Oh, we heard from Scott earlier this week. Shouldn't I had that name up here on the board this week about it making urns. He's commissioned to make urns for his family. And he said, how do I figure sizes? We have a calculator on our website. Yeah. So you can look there and get the calculator thing and so figure out what sizes they should be. That's a whole lot of hokum created by the people that run funeral homes about sizes and requirements and all that. But in some areas, they stick with it. But that information's on our website if you need to have it. My wife tells me that when I die, she's going to have the date and everything else tattooed on her wrist. And it's a simple procedure. I think she's got her appointment for Tuesday. Which Tuesday? She didn't say which Tuesday.
Raise your arms up so you can save the watches because the boots are ruined.
But save the watches. I hadn't heard that one in a long, long time.
I used to do that in board meetings. I'd hold my hand up and everybody would be like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm just trying to protect my watch. My floor shines are ruined.
Yeah. The things you go through.
Oh, amen. All right. Well,
All right.
without
Who we're going to
further
start with,
ado,
who's going to
so-
crank off
so-
our demos
so-
tonight?
So we got a very interesting demo. It's going to be put on kind of tag team basis by Kent Crowell and with an assist by Jim Duxbury. So like with our typical demonstrations, all comments, please keep them till the end of the demonstrations. It's Kent's demo. Let him go through what he's demonstrating for us, and we'll have answers and questions at the end of his demonstration. So without further ado, let's go to Kent. I'm going to spotlight you now, Kent.
Thank you.
There we are.
I tried this earlier and it worked. And let me see if I can find my little web page here that has my stuff. Basically, I met Eddie at SWAT during Hurricane Harvey in 2017. He gave me a cutter, carbide cutter. And let me see if I can share my screen one more time here and get over here to my web page. Bear with me a second. Doggone it. We practiced this. Okay, here we go. All right. Got a black screen, YWCA?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. This is where we are tonight. And I put this in the chat. My name's Kent Crowell. So kentcrowell.weebly.com is where all this stuff is located. And in the future, you'll use this other one that will take you to a wood turning site that I have set up. Safety minute, wood turning safety is your responsibility. Have your face shield on before the lathe is turned on, and more safety. We're going to talk about Jim Duxbury's spiral illusion, and I have a 1 minute video right here. Let's try to see if this works. Cross your fingers. This is a Screen Pal. Screen Pal is free. So if I turn this on, this one doesn't have any music or audio on it, but I drew this with SketchUp, and I have a free SketchUp version. So I made 2 of them, and we've got these rings with these holes in there, and I put the Texas flag on the back so you kind of see how it works. You know, I got a 15-minute deal, and it seems like I've spent a month working on this thing just to make it perfect. SketchUp is really useful. I'm going to turn on an X-ray tool here, and we're going to X-ray this drawing through this Texas flag here. So there's my X-ray. I'm going to orbit back the other direction, and you can see inside right there where those rings come in halfway. I used a 1-inch thick piece of 6x6 birch or beech. Jim Duxbury's article, there's a wire model of it. He used a 7/8, and it's just easier for me to work with the 1-inch thick piece of wood. Okay, that worked pretty good. I'm gonna go back to my web page down here. This article was run in American Wood Turning Magazine in 2018, and at the top here is a link to it. But you can read this, and he started with this trivet, and he's got lots of pictures, the step-by-step, the whole thing is here. I saw him do this at SWAT, and he starts off finding the very center, and then he has an offset of 3/8, and he uses these dividers to make these rings on here. And it's a really fast way of doing it. So I'm going to start off with 10 pieces of 1-inch by 6x6, get the holes drilled in the corners, and do a mass production on the thing. It's a intermediate advanced, so you want to, if you're going to go with his 7/8 thick, you have to have I would have to have a decimal equivalent chart or a calculator handy. But there's different ways to do it. And then some of his gallery quality pieces, and he tells me he has an article coming out in another publication, and I'm going to make sure he has some time toward the end of this thing. But you can look at all this information on this web page. Now I'm trying to get to the bottom, and you know, it's a old tired computer. So let's see if it'll take me down here past this article. And there's a download button there. This is a Weebly free web page that's used in elementary school. And you know, it's not letting me go all the rest of the way down there. But I'm going to come over here and try this a little different way. I'm not advertising ScreenPal. It's used by teachers. It's got a free deal to it. I've got an account under my name, and you can store your videos online. So here is the video I made of this thing. So it says I have 11 minutes to go here, and I've got 9 minutes on the clock. But you can add music to your lesson, all right? I'm not going to read this whole thing to you. We're just going to skip ahead here a little bit. But with the introduction, we got to get the introduction. So I'm going to back up here a little bit. Going backwards. And he says, as a teacher and demonstrator, I realize there's two types of wood turners. One creates beautiful, artistic, one-of-a-kind works, while others create precisely measured pieces, allowing for repetition. So this is your opening screen on SketchUp. I've got some tips to go with in here. Start with a plan view or top view, and fast forward this a little bit. We're going to start with a 6x6 square, and there's different ways to do it. Find the center, and we're going to offset each side. I used a 1/4 inch, so I went one way a 1/4 inch, on the other side a different direction, a 1/4 inch. It's all in the article. All right, come on down here a little faster. He has us drill a 1/16 hole right in that very center. So when you put it on your lathe, you're going to do most of the layout on a lathe. And what I'm doing here on SketchUp is using a push-pull tool to create that center hole. And you're going to make a circle and dish it out on each side. Maybe I'll orbit this around here in a little bit. And this circle is not in the center of the square. If you think it is in the center of the square, maybe time to have your eyes checked. Anyway, but it's going to be off center, and the back side is also going to be off center. Okay, we can flip this over on the back, and I label it front and back because I get left and right, top and bottom, inside and outside, and front and back mixed up. I mean, I've got a bunch of extra cabinet doors around here, but we're going to get in this center, and there's different ways to do it. You can draw circles with radius, or you can use concentric circles to create this. If you draw it first, you're going to be planning your work and work your plan, and your stuff will work better. It's just a lesson I've learned from teaching youth and adults for over a 30-year teaching curriculum. So I'm going to draw it and lay it out and get all of our ducks lined up and get this set up pretty good. Okay, I'm going to scoot this on down the line here. You also are dishing out the backside. On this case, this particular one is 3/4 of an inch thick, so I'm dishing it out 3/16 of an inch deep. I hope I don't get you confused because I use different specifications on these. I've got some details on the screen there that are able to stop, look at, and read. Here we are at about 7.5 minutes in here, and I can stop this right here. This was in American Woodturner Journal, October 2018, and was also at SWAT in 2018. And I have an old free SketchUp from 2016 on an old PC computer, and it works. So get this started again. I'm going to come on down here a little bit. You could color your wood. You can got all kinds of choices. Make it look realistic and make it fun. And also, I can get really accurate. I can be very accurate with this model. And if the model works, it's going to work when I put it on the lathe. I'm not guessing around with anything. In this view, you can see where the center is, and I used these radiuses to create all these rings. Jim, in his article, he has the rings numbered, which is the same thing. There's lots of different, more than one way to skin a cat. So here's these rings we're going to make, all these rings on here. We're going to come back and use a push-pull tool to remove the wood, a simulated parting tool move without any sawdust to clean up. So, you know, you make your brain work through the process. You won't have any Duxbury funnels like I showed a couple of weeks ago. All right, coming on down here a little bit. We're going to do one side. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Make the rings, use a push-pull tool, and there you can see the daylight coming through the bottom. You know, it's kind of like, how do you catch a unique rabbit? Unique up on it. And how do you catch tame rabbits? Unique up on them too. So you've got a depth gauge, and you want to sneak up on that dimension that you're using, whether it's a 3/4 inch thick or a 7/8 thick or 1 inch thick. Get all your dimensions together so it's ready to go, and you can flip it back and forth, orbit it around, and the more you practice with this tool, well, the better you're going to be. And there is a YouTube link in there of 6 or 7 tips. You can do most of the moving around with your 3-button scroll mouse. It's just better. You got all these tools over here on the left side, but if you can do the orbit, the zoom in, the zoom out, the pan, you can do so much with just a good mouse nowadays. All right. I'm going to come on down here to the end. You can really zoom in on this thing. You can make it look really good. The website, again, I'm going to exit this and exit this one and exit this, get over here to my web page. Tons of information on here. I've got a little time. Oh, right here, I came on down. I'm writing a contest lesson, and Sue can help me out. I mentioned this a month ago. Instructables has a $40,000 prize for a lesson, a project-based learning. I know I'm not the only teacher in this group, but for my younger learners, I put it down as step-by-step, all the way down through here with the photos, a different way of getting that off center on the top, off center on the back. And it's available here to get you going on this the right way. Much the same material that we just covered, except on this one, I made the rings very narrow, as you can see, and it looks so much better if you leave these rings and make the big fat parts that cut out. Go to the chat and give me some tips on there that you may run across. Start with a top view. It's like going swimming and getting in the shallow end, all right? Use a 3-button scroll mouse for orbit, pan, and zoom. Learn to make your lines the right way. Stickiness is, things stick together. If you can group all the parts, you'll do much better. Master the move tool and use zoom, pan, and orbit like a pro. This little button takes you to a place to get a free SketchUp. And if you wanted to read aloud, you have something you want read aloud to you while you're cleaning the shop or while you're sanding, this is a really good deal for attention deficit disorder or PTSD. You want to get started with SketchUp, here's the link. And here, if you want to do the contest, $40,000, and they moved the deadline from July 30th back into the middle of the fall. The screen pal right here, we'll show about a minute of this thing. And this one doesn't have audio either. I got it to work earlier, but then of course today on demo day, it doesn't want to work for me. But I've got a couple of different versions on here because the more, well, let's put it this way. I have 16 different versions and one that's good enough for the show. Anyway, Mr. Dane, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Duxbury, and I'm going to stop sharing right here. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it, and ask us some questions in the chat.
Wow.
Thanks, Kent. Let me spotlight Mr. Duxbury here. Jim,
Thanks, Kent.
welcome.
Yeah, that was unreal. I'm going to do a screen share here. Can you see this?
Yep.
Okay.
Bowl with horizontal lines.
Very nice piece.
First off, I draw everything. I mean, everything. And I had to learn AutoCAD. I actually went to college and learned it. It took 6 months or something. It's fabulous, and you can save things and send pictures or drawings to anybody in the world. Alter them, bring them up, save them in files. It's fabulous. I started making trivets on a table saw, and these are the cuts on this is these are 1/4-inch cuts done with a box cutting blade that you use for making tenons on a box. 1/4-inch wide, 1/4-inch deep. And after I made a few of these things, I thought, well, I'll do this on one side, and then I'll turn it around on the other side. From the trivet, I went to this. This is a 6x6 piece, the piece that Kent just showed. And that was a lot of fun. I've made dozens of those all over the place. I've taught it. I make them in all different woods. These are maple and bloodwood, I think. I found it's amazing. A lot of people want a pair of things. And so I often make, these are pair made in catalogs. But in fact, just recently we had a guy over in Raleigh call. He had 2 people win this contest. It was a dead even tie. He says, I have to have 2 prizes. They have to be identical. There can't be one shade of anything different on either one of them. And I says, I just happen to have that. So in fact, I bought him 2 sets of them, and he liked them so well, he bought 1 set for himself. But this is once you figure this out, you can do alternatives, all kinds of derivatives of that. This is Babinga on the front and cherry on the back. I'll show the back.
Goodness.
And I'll go back to the other. If you look at the edge of this, you can see it goes from nothing to a full piece of cherry on the back, from nothing to a full piece of Babinga on the front. And then when you turn that, you get Babinga, half Babinga rings and half cherry rings. And then on the other side, you get cherry rings going into Babinga rings.
Jeez.
You can do all kinds of things with this. And I'll show some more, but every now and then you make a mistake and you don't do an offset. Kent has a couple of these. If you do very many and you're not paying attention, you end up with that. So I got these rings and I realized what was going to happen. So I didn't turn the other ones all the way through and put a plug in the middle. So I got a plug on both sides, but we won't talk about this one very much. I make these into different things. This is made into a lamp. These sell instantly. They go about $250, and they just
The wiring is
the wiring takes forever. I have to sneak the wiring through the base up through here. Oh, if you ever have to pull wire and you got this all together, take a guitar string and push it up through that daggone thing, goes around corners and up through in 90 degrees and comes out the other end. I don't know how it does it, but it's the only thing I know will do it.
How about a string and a vacuum?
Oh God, I have no idea. It's a really small hole, maybe. I taught this a couple places. One of the students come back a couple weeks later. He said, I really had a good time. He made 3 of these things or something, and he painted them. There's different colored rings, and there's been all kinds of derivatives of this done. This is another one. The guy really liked this thing, and he lays it on its side. I don't know if I can turn it on its side. he lays it on its side like this, and he calls it a fish. So,
Oh.
hey, if you bought it, you can call it whatever you want. This is another one that this is probably about 7 by 12 or 13 in catalogs. You can make the offset either go horizontal or vertical or corner to corner, or whatever you like.
Oh,
Learn how to do that. Let's go to just this one. This is just a set of rings. If you look at this real close, that center one is the same as this. This next one is the same thing, only it's shifted 1/4 of an inch. So this is 1/4 of an inch. So this ring here now becomes tangent to this ring here and leaves you a half moon section in the middle. You see that?
Yep.
And then the outer one is the same thing. This ring here is cut. And then this ring here is moved out 1/4 of an inch. So it's stepped out and it becomes tangent to here. This ring here is both this cut and this cut. This is a 10 center piece. There's a center on the front. There's a center here and a center here. There's 3. And there's 3 centers here. And there's 3 centers here. That's 9, and a center on the back is 10. These, I showed this from the inside out. If you ever go to make one of these, you turn it from the outside in, because when you start cutting this out, you've taken the center out of this next one. So you have to cut this from the outside in. Ask me how I know that.
do you get dizzy turning these?
No, not on these. I'm the screwy bowls I do, but this also, once I get it done, I spray it with shellac, and then I paint the inside of the thing, and then sand the top, so I get a black background. The same here. This is sanded and then or painted and sanded. That's mahogany, I think. This is a similar one. This is a 12 center turning. So you got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and one on the back, 12. It's shaded, it's airbrushed red down the middle and yellow down here. So when you sand the top off, you get this shading.
Wow. How do you control your depth with the chisel?
That takes a while to tell you. I use
You
a
could
depth.
do it with you could do it with masking tape, like you would a drill bit.
This is done by eye with a depth gauge, and I could show probably better here. This is the top surface of the piece. I have a bar with a pin going through it to give me the depth. So this would be 1/4 from the top of here to the top of there is about 1/4 of the thickness of the wood. So if this was an inch, this would be recessed 1/4 of an inch. And then from here at the bottom of this cut is another 1/4 of an inch. But it's referenced from this surface here. You never cut down to here and then reference from here to here, because that gives you 2 different places to make a mistake. You reference off the top surface always on anything. So I do it with a depth gauge. On some of the real complicated pieces, I turn the back first. And once I get the back, all these rings cut, you don't need a depth gauge, because you recess this down to here, and then you set up your pattern. And when you start cutting through here, you cut till you see the other side. carefully. You don't want to see too much of the.
Wow.
Here's the pair of them together. I think this might be interesting. This is what it looks like mounted. I mount the piece on a faceplate. This is just a piece of plywood, I think, on a big faceplate. And I screw the piece to it. By doing that, I can pick up different centers. Once I pick up this center, I actually take my drawing. This is drawn in AutoCAD. You can see lightly is the rings in back, but these offset rings, I draw that, print it out on a copy machine. When you print something out on a copy machine, take the center and swing arcs all the way around it. Damn copy machines shrink things and expand things. They do not print a perfect circle. About half the time you'll get some kind of oval. And if you do something precision or making gears, you make gears where they work great and all of a sudden two lobes come together and they won't go anymore. Swing an arc just to darken it up so you know exactly where it is. Anyway, you hold this board up here before you screw it on. Just set it against the faceplate. Bring the tailstock up and set it on that center and pinch it tight. And then screw it to the faceplate. And now you're on that center. That's been done with all of these centers. And this is a 10 center piece. But then when you get all done, you just stand I actually put the, locate this plan and use, you know, the spray sticky stuff and mount the thing, glue it right to the piece. So that gives me all my centers. I know exactly where I am at. I do this with a lot of things too. And then you get all done. This is what it looks like. Bandsaw it out, make it round and sand it up. You can do all kinds of things with this. Once you know AutoCAD, when you get this drawing, you just draw this part. You can flip that over. You can turn it at angles. You can copy it and paste it on somewhere else. You can do all kinds of things with it. I think Kent's program will probably do that too. But this is actually a small one of these. It's just these two here turned. That's a 30 degrees, so this is turned 90 plus 30. I was going to make a face out of this, but my wife overruled me. She said, anyway, this is the back. I didn't do the black in the back so you can see what happens. These are ornaments. I don't know, some are 3 inches in diameter or something. That's just a little one turned, and the same thing turned on a rectangular piece, cut 45 degrees. One side is flipped over, so it makes a 90 degree, just like a miter with that in the middle. This is a rectangular piece turned with this bullseye, this ring out here, cut it at 45 degree, flipped over and indexed over to the edge of here. That makes an S shape. Okay, you can do all kinds of things with this.
Great stuff, Jim.
Anyway.
Very nice.
Great stuff.
There's well, I just threw this in. We do a lot of offset things. This is a two-side or a 2-axis box. And that's what I just showed you. That's in bloodwood. This is a 3-axis base. But we do a lot of offset things, and that's all drawn. That any one of these is not just sculpted out. Like I said in the beginning of Kent's presentation, there's two kinds of wood turners. One does precision. If you're making artwork, you put a block of wood on the lathe, and if you get a catch, you got a smaller piece of artwork, that's all. But, and it's gorgeous. You can do all kinds of things with it. But when you're doing something that has to fit together or visually interlock, then it's got to be right. Any questions? You're all.
So there was one question, wanted to know what made you decide to start making the style of turning?
Oh God, it wasn't drinking or anything. It was I was making trivets, and they were square trivets, and they're not very exciting. And I don't really like making them on the table saw. So I turned to one side, and from there it's like, well, if you could turn one side, why can't you turn both sides? And then you start turning offset here and offset there, and why not add 3 more? And pretty soon, who knows? You probably haven't seen the end of this yet, but I'll stop.
Yeah, good stuff, Jim.
Yes.
Fun.
Thank you. Well, if you got any questions, don't hesitate. Or
Anyone else have any questions? Nine. All right. Well, let's go
Clear as
to our
mud.
next. Was that a question?
No, I was just saying clear as mud.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, there's 1,000 questions. I just don't know what to ask first. So
Yeah.
Hey, go to the webpage and read his 5-page article or print it out and mark it step by step with your pencil. You can do this.
Yep.
It looks like a good demo to me.
And is that on the AEW webpage?
Well, that link, it is, but it's also on my presentation that I put in the chat, kentcrowell.weebly.com.
Okay. Got it.
I have to tell you, that'll also be out in the Wood Turning magazine. Oh, they're working on it. I think it's going to be issue 388 or something. That's in probably about 3 months.
And you actually did a variation of that on the outside of a bowl, didn't you? The outside, inside of a bowl.
Yes.
It's
yeah.
incredible.
That's the advanced class. That has to be a perfect,
yeah, I think so.
That has to be a perfect sphere. I mean, perfect. That was an 1/8 of an inch thick bowl, and the ribs are an 1/8 inch by 1/16 of an inch by 1/16 of an inch, a 1/16 deep. And if you're off a 64th of an inch, the top of the bead is missing. So it's got to be dead on. You can't even sand it. But anyway, do you want to see the bowl?
Yes.
Sure. Show us that bowl.
I did another one, was really fabulous. I'll tell you, this was the most gorgeous thing I ever made. I spent 2 weeks doing it. It has a ring. It has the rings on the outside and the inside. Don't bring that. Okay. Anyway, it comes apart because there's not enough wood left to hold it together. Okay. This is done from both sides.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That is neat.
Absolutely incredible.
That is a perfect sphere. If this has a flat spot in it, these are only a 1/16 of an inch high. So if it has a flat spot in it anywhere, you see half the rib missing.
Yes.
So Hans
Wow.
Weisbach does these. In fact, I said,
That's incredible.
this is even better. I was going to do this. You see the designs on the outside. I thought, well, that's easy enough because you have to make a sphere to put this on, and then you index it around and anchor it on that sphere and actually cut these one at a time. This one has the designs on the inside. So as this thing is pointed towards you, and you have to go down the center of it and turn these little bullseyes while this is flying around. And I'll tell you, that isn't a fun afternoon. But anyway, I got it almost all done, and I thought, oh damn, this is really great. I got, in fact, the hard ones are the little ones. because you're really off center and you're this thing is laid right over like this and it's flying around and you're going down the center trying to hit this thing. So I thought, oh, that's really good. I got to turn one on the outside and see what happens. So I turned the outside and then the whole thing came apart. I mean, there just isn't there's no wood left. So
Right.
it just, some you win, some you lose. It's
Incredible.
Wow.
this is the same thing. This is an 1/8" sphere. And
Wow.
I learned too, on this one, I didn't put a bottom on it. This one here, I put a bottom on it. And I wasn't thinking. I had to triangulate all these off the edge because I had this daggone bottom in the middle. You lose your reference point. But anyway, you can tell why I don't have much hair.
Wow.
But here I kept a reference point, so this was a lot easier to do. Anyway, cutting 16" ribs is not fun either, but you can go cross-eyed after a while.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Wow, great stuff, Jim. Thank you.
Fantastic.
All right, let's go
Jim,
to our
you
next
just
mini
blew my
demo.
mind.
Yeah.
Okay, let's head over to Mr. Grinstead again. Hey, Bob.
Yeah, hey guys. A couple of months ago, I picked up a treadmill. You know, I've always watched YouTube videos where they reuse the treadmill motor. And so I decided that, well, I'm going to pick that thing up. It was free. It was on the side of the road in front of this guy's house. He was moving and I thought it was a garage sale. So I walked up there and he said, nope, but he didn't want the treadmill. So I picked that up. It was free. So anyway, I took the motor out and actually found a lathe that I could put it in and put it in a lathe. So let me show you the video about it, talking about it. The parts, you know, in the video, I talk about the parts for the actual to make the treadmill work on a lathe, being like $250. Well, it's not. It's like $160. The rest of it was a tap and a bit and a die to make the little adapter with. But so let me go ahead and start this video and see if we can see if I can show it to you. I had fun doing it though. Let's see. Now can you see it?
That's great.
There you go.
All right, let me start it again. Talk a little bit about a lathe motor conversion. A friend of mine has a lathe that had a bad motor in it, and I found a treadmill motor. They were throwing them, they were moving, and they were throwing them away. They didn't use it anymore. Perfectly good treadmill. Still had the receipt with it. The game was 10 years old, but it was like $500 from Sears. So anyway, I took it all apart and pulled it apart and pulled the treadmill motor out of it. I actually kept the controller for a while until I realized I didn't need it. I got on YouTube and was looking around and I found Daze Cars, DAZECARS. And he has a lot of videos using treadmill motors. Very good explanation of it, how it works, what you need, how much everything costs. So anyway, so I took that motor and threw the controller away, the board that actually controlled everything on the existing treadmill, threw that away, and I bought the parts that he suggested. The parts were like 6 or 7 pieces that you have to buy. I think the whole thing runs about maybe $230 or something like that, maybe $250. But anyway, it was a doable deal. The friend of mine that had the lathe, was willing to pay for the conversion. So anyway, so I enjoyed the experience. Let me show you this motor. It was it's a 2-horse, 2.65 horse motor. So as you can see, the motor itself, as it says, it's a 2.65 horse. but when you really get down here and look, it says it's a 1.5 horse continuous duty. 95 volts DC. So, it's a DC motor that has lots of torque. This thing has, once it gets up to full speed, which is real fast, but anyway, it gets up to full speed, it's like 4,000, maybe 5,000 RPM. So it has plenty of speed, plenty of torque, and it's just putting all the components together. And like I said before, it's like 6 or 7 components. I didn't video it, but that I can give you a description of it. But the best thing is just to go watch his videos. It's Daz Cars videos, and he actually has a web page. If you go to dazcars.com, he has some of that stuff out there on his web page. But this is an easy conversion. You just have to find a way to mount the motor. I kept the bracket out of the motor. As you can see, I've cut it off and kept that bracket so I can use the adjustment portion of it. And we're going to put it in the deal. There's only 4 wires coming out of here, but 2 of these wires are thermal protection in the motor. So if the motor gets too hot, it opens up. And the other 2 are the DC, the plus and minus to the DC. These are reversible, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to reverse the motor and run it in the opposite direction and let the brushes burn in. It's probably not a good idea to switch it back and forth. You could. It just makes the brushes wear out faster. But anyway, we chose not to do it because I don't want to have to go find another motor somewhere or try to find brushes for it. So hopefully this thing will work great. All right, I've completed the lathe conversion and also made a stand for it. I'll show you the stand in a minute. This was a 1016 Laguna, and I have raised it. I knew the motor strong enough, so I went ahead and raised this thing up to make it a 1216 with spacers under both ends, headstock and the tailstock. And then I had to drill out the banjo. The banjo was, I don't know, like a ½ inch or something, probably maybe 5/8. Anyway, I drilled it out to 3/4. I thought that was too small for what he's doing. Then I made some adapters here, tool rest for his deal. I've got a 6-inch, then I have a 10-inch, and then I also have a platform that goes on here. But the conversion itself turned out good. I kept the existing box that he had here that came with it, kept the switch, the tachometer that was in here. It probably didn't work. None of that electronics really worked, so I took it away, threw it away. I bought a new one. This is 110.
We lost audio.
The audio back on again. Okay. And then we'll try this again here. Let me share the screen. And hit play. Suggested. Now can you hear it? And it worked out fine. I don't know that I need the second one. It was like a coarse adjustment and a fine adjustment. I don't know that I need that. So I took everything off the shaft on the inside of this thing. Took the pulley off. You reused the same pulley, but took everything else out of here. Put a different sensor inside, and that one works off of a magnet. So I had to glue a magnet to the shaft to make the tack work. But I did have to make an adapter. I had another friend who had a metal lathe, And he made this
We
little
lost your
adapter,
video, Bob.
about 3 or 4 inches long, maybe a little longer. Do what?
We lost your video.
Yeah.
I still see it.
We got.
I have
I
it.
still see it.
Okay, then it's
It
me.
screws on where this hand wheel used to screw on the end of the headstock shaft here. So the adapter, screws on here. I could reuse the pulley. He put that on here, and then we threaded this end to put the hand wheel back on. Didn't have to have it, but I thought it was an added feature that he could keep his hand wheel. It is a hollow. We went ahead and drilled it out so we can still use a punch out or a knockout or whatever you call it, and he can still use the mortise taper on the headstock. The bottom down here, this is a brace I made. I probably doesn't have to be that thick, but I made it good and thick where it's not going to move. And I tried it at first on this center pulley, and it would have worked fine, except the lowest it would go, the lowest speed was about 450, and the highest speed was over 4,000. So I said, well, we don't have to have that. So we put it on the larger pulley, went ahead and put it up here, and still running it on the existing portion on the motor. But then when we put it up here, that dropped the speed down to 350 and a little low, probably 36,000 or 3,600 RPM. So it's plenty fast. He's never going to go that fast anyway. Well, anyway, let me finish showing you this. I used the bracket, reused the bracket that came with it. Just cut it off, and you can see, but I did keep the adjustment portion where you can adjust it and change the belt out. All electronics fits in this box. Well, it's actually two things. One thing is in the box. That's that SCR controller. It has a little fan in it. I left some space in here to let the heat out. Put it on spacers. This is a rectifier. It's a bridge rectifier. Because the SCR controller converts the AC into kind of like a chopped AC, and you still have to make it DC. So you put it through the rectifier to make it DC. And then on the back of this board, which I've got still shut here, I've screwed it shut. But on the back of that is a transformer. Not a transformer. It's a choke, basically what it is. It's it looks like a transformer, but it's really a choke that kind of smooths out the DC before it gets to the motor. And that's it. There's not a whole lot of parts. There's a fuse. I had to buy a circuit breaker, and but the rest of it was all came with it. I mean, it was, like I said, 5 or 6 parts. Pretty easy to do. The conversion is easy to do. There is the speed sensor, and I don't know if I can turn it here to where you can see I don't know if you can see that or not. There it goes right there. Where I had glued the magnet to it. I went ahead and made a stand. He didn't have a stand either, so I made a stand out of 2x2 square tubing, 16 gauge. Put it on wheels, 4 or 3 casters, and have jacks under it where you can lift it up and lower it. So you can lift it up on the casters and move it around, and then set it back down again. And being 11 gauge, that the stand itself is probably about 160 pounds. And then when you add the Laguna lathe, I don't know how much that thing is, maybe 50 pounds or something. I don't know what it weighs. So it's probably close to 200 altogether, maybe a little more. So if you wanted to, the bottom has got the shelf looking thing down here, the braces. He could stack sandbags or something on it, but I don't know if he's going to need it. If he doesn't get too high or get too big a rough piece on here, I think it'll be fine. Also made a little attachment where you can put his light. The attachment sits on this, wraps around this square tubing, and it sticks out the back, and it'll slide back and forth on the tubing, and a deal sticking up so we can put a, like a LED light, move it around back there. So anyway, it turned out pretty good. I think it's going to work fine for him. What else can I say? The metal for the stand was probably about $250. The price of metal's really gone up. But that's it. Let me turn it on for you so you can see it. It'll actually stop if I turn it all the way down here. It will stop, and you can turn it up. That'll finally zero out once it settles down. But so about 350 is about where you're going to start, and I can't hardly reach this thing, but it will go way on up here. All the noise you hear is the fan. There's a fan in that motor. When it says 3,200, but I can get it higher. There you go. Let's play the other one. So there is some adjustment in this smaller deal. But like I said, all of the noise you hear there is really just a fan turning. I could put that all in a box and you wouldn't hear the fan so much, but I don't think it's going to hurt him. Anyway, if that becomes a problem, we'll put a deal on it. That was why we didn't want to put the motor underneath this lathe like it normally comes, because the fan would just suck sawdust right through it, and it would just clog it up. So we thought it would be better over here to make the motor last a little longer, taking it off to the side, and I think it worked fine. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Anyway, I think that's it. Have any questions, just let me know.
That's pretty good, Bob.
Yeah, thanks. It did work out real well. I don't think he's had any problem with it. It has 1.5 horse now instead of I think even a 12-inch Laguna lathe is only like 1 horse. So I'm not real sure, but I think that's what they are. And, so this is 1.5 horse. It has plenty of torque. You're never going to stop it. It's really a good motor in there. Talking about motors, if you don't have a treadmill, I think you can buy these motors on eBay for like $70, $80. So they're not that expensive to buy that DC motor. Some of these you can't buy. Like if you go out and you're trying to replace a motor in an old lathe, they don't sell you a direct replacement because that part you can't buy anymore. You'd have to find something that's going to fit. So this is, to me, was a good alternative.
I think genius.
But it worked out real well.
The motor said 21.4 amps. Is that right?
No, it was a 2.45 or 2.46 horse motor.
The amperage on the label, I thought so.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the actual amperage is. I wasn't looking at that, but you really don't need to worry about the amperage in it. It's a DC deal, so you're not. If you wire it up correctly, you're not going to have a problem.
Nice job. Nice stand too.
Yeah, thanks. The stand worked out real well too.
Good info, Bob. You can take your toolbox to a Goodwill store and take $20 with you, and somebody with a strong back, and usually make a pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They are those treadmills are heavy. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah.
This is Randy. One kind of a caveat is that you can reverse the rotation of that motor and hence the lathe just by reversing the two leads that come out, switch positive and negative, and you can use a double pull, double throw switch.
Yeah,
And
you
you'll
can.
find all kinds of descriptions of that on the internet.
Yeah, you can. And he
But-
even says that on his website. I just, when you do that, it's the way the brushes work, you know, brushes in a DC motor, any type of brushes that are going the same direction all the time, they get burnt in that direction. And there's enough slop in the actual channel that brush sits in to where you turn it back the other way. Well, it slaps it up against the other side. And now he's turning that direction until it gets cat 4 in. So yeah, you can. I mean, and we could have done it here. And in Daz cars, he actually does it. He's got that on several different applications, a lathe and mill. Anyway, several things, and he did reverse that motor. I just opted not to do it.
Yes, absolutely. But here's the caveat. You cannot do that. You cannot reverse the direction of the lathe while it is spinning.
And no, you're going to burn it up. Yeah.
Absolutely. You'll burn up that controller.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. They told me at Jet you could, or at Powermatics that you could do it, and I do it every day.
Well, that's a different
Yes.
application, different setup though.
Okay.
That is a variable frequency drive, not a variable DC drive.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You post that website?
Daz Cars, DAZECARS.com, or just go to YouTube and look up Daz Cars.
Okay. Bob, can you put that in the chat?
Sure.
Folks that are interested in it.
Sure. But I thought it was a good alternative to trying to find a motor for it. You know, several of the guys around here had already told him just to throw it away because it wasn't any good. And he hung on to it. And anyway, we ended up putting a motor in it and it worked great.
Yeah, I would say so.
Nice save.
Yeah.
Great job, Bob.
Okay.
Very intuitive.
Thanks.
All right. Should we go to another short demo?
Sure.
There's a lot of enthusiasm for the group.
Absolutely.
Who's up next?
You got more
Jeez.
time.
All
Yeah,
right,
lots of
so I was contacted by a buddy of mine here within the group, and turns out somebody within the group, we won't mention any names, was having issues with these funny little things. Do we know what these are?
The bearings.
These are bearings on your
Bandsaw guides.
on your bandsaw guides. And so there was a person had the exact type bearing, and it was locked up, couldn't move it. And he was just going to throw them away and order some new ones. And he didn't realize that all you got to do is just take a fine blade and you can go right in. You can pop that retaining plastic right off. And then you can drop these into a vat of acetone or kerosene or diesel. Let them sit for a couple hours. Take your air gun.
While wearing your safety glasses.
Yes.
Because you don't want that acetone spraying in your eyes.
And it will splatter.
And then, well, as long as you spray it, away from you, you're good to go. But yeah, wear your glasses and all your PPE and put your suit on and your beehive and everything like that. Make sure you do that.
Yeah.
Your personal safety is your responsibility in your shop. And then next thing you know, now you've got a bearing that spins, and you can put that back on your bandsaw.
Huh.
And so now I'm going to turn it over to my collaborator here, and he's going to talk about the other type of bearing. Scott.
So that bearing that Dane just showed you, you can take axle grease and repack that bearing. You just put a little axle grease in the palm of your hand while you got that plastic cap out, and you take that and work that around and repack that bearing and put that plastic sleeve in there. But there are some bearings you cannot clean that they call sealed bearings. The one Dane just showed you is not a sealed bearing. It's just a bearing with a dust cap on it. So this is an actual sealed bearing. It's called a cup bearing. It's actually in a cup. It's pressed in there. There's a ridge ring around the top. There's no way to clean this bearing or take it apart. Okay. This is a cap bearing. And you'll find these on some machines. So if you're like in your pulleys on your bandsaw might have, if it's old enough, it might have bearings like this. You can't clean these. You have to replace them. My bandsaw comes with bearings like this, and I don't know if you can see that real good, but it has a steel ring in it. You can't clean these either. They're not sealed, but you can't clean them. The way they press that ring in there, it's impossible to get it out without bending the living daylights out of it. You cannot get them apart. If you can see these little teeth in here, if I get it close enough to the camera, there's little teeth in here that grab this steel ring. It has a little flange on it that grab that steel ring. It's impossible to get it apart. You cannot clean these. You have to replace these too. When you order the new ones from Grizzly for your Grizzly bandsaw, they're going to come like the one Dane showed you. They've discontinued this steel top. Okay. And I think it's because you can't clean them. They get gummed up and they're done. I have one here that's gummed up. This one here no longer, whoops, that's not it. This one here no longer spins. It just clicks. So if the outside of your bearing starts to look like this, you got a problem. It's time to stop. If they're cleanable, you clean them. If they're not, it's time to order them before you burn up the bearing and lock it up. Because if you lock this up, it's going to start to spin on the spindle, on this spindle. Now you're not only buying the bearing, but you're going to rebuy that spindle that holds this bearing. You're adding more cost. So if I do a lot of cutting on my bandsaw, once a month or once every couple months, I take all these bearings off and I clean them. So I have two sets. I have two new sets so I can have one clean set, reassemble and get back going while the other set's cleaning. So it's just, and they're on everything that you have. They're on your lathe, they're on your bandsaw, they're on your table saw, they're even in your drills. If the drill starts making some funny sounds, you can take it apart and clean those bearings. I found all the cordless drills and most of the electric drills have bearings that are cleanable. So you can clean these, and you should periodically clean, especially your table saw, your lathe, and your bandsaw. You should be cleaning these bearings often because they're in such a dusty environment.
Yep.
So that's Dane and I's little collaboration. Hopefully it'll help you out. If you got questions on how to clean them, just send me an email or catch me in a meeting, and I'll be glad to show somebody how to repack them or take them apart. I do FaceTime, Zoom, whatever you want.
Makes two of us. Anytime.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right. And then, so with that, I got one more thing to show. I got to move the camera. So y'all are going to get a little bit of Dramamine. So I'm going to show an alternative way to hold something. A couple different ways. When you have a small item. So can y'all see okay?
Looks good, Dane.
Outstanding. So have you ever been up against the rail trying to figure out how to hold a small spindle, and you got your little bitty chuck jaws, but it won't hold, and you don't want to do it between centers because, well, you're afraid you're going to split out the ends.
Yeah.
Here's a method. So you go find yourself a socket that'll fit whatever diameter that piece is. Shove it in there. And then you put the chuck, put the socket in your chuck. And then you can bring up your tool, your live center. So you can hold it and you can turn away.
Clever.
Another item you can use if you're got too heavy a handle with the live center, is they make a Jacob's chuck, a machinist chuck, that's actually a live center. And you put that in. And you screw it down. And giddy up.
If you've got a live center that has a reversible chuck so that you can make it into a cone, you can use that
It
too.
holds perfectly good. There's no slippage. And yes, you can use your toe to shave on a skew.
Wow.
All right, that's it for me. Any questions?
Another genius.
Simple.
I'd like you to go, can you go back to that thing with the chuck just now you showed? The chuck spins free on that live on it. Look back at
Down.
Down. There you go, Dane.
Okay.
Yes, it spins freely.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a standard Jacob's chuck.
Interesting.
It's in it too, don't it?
So
think I
toy
got
I
that
do
from-
not have.
I think I got that from Little Machine Shop.
That's where I would go looking for it.
Years ago.
It's a great source for those kinds of things. LittleMachineShop.com.
Absolutely. All right, so we got one more quick demo short, and then we'll get back to the regular scheduled gallery and sitting on the tailgate. So without further ado, let's go to Doug Miller on airbrushing on the cheap.
All right. There we are.
Doug is not in uniform tonight. Y'all
Nope,
need it
nope.
understood. Okay.
I'm not turning anything, so I'm not in
Okay.
uniform. We started talking about this, and every once in a while airbrushing comes up. And some of y'all, excuse me while I blow some dust off. Some of y'all know what this is. It's a very simple little gizmo, and it's not real expensive. It was a little more than I thought it was when I went to buy it. You've seen the commercials about airbrushing your makeup on, ladies? That's what this is. It's a makeup airbrush machine. So it's got off and on with 3 levels of power, and I can't hardly tell between the medium and the high. I can't hardly tell the difference between them. Very simple, just a little like a 3x5 by 2.5 plastic box. The only color I've seen it in is pink. I'm sure it comes in other colors, and it comes with a airbrush. Not a good one. This is a single stage. You just simply pull it back. You push down and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't push down. I've had to clean it a couple of times where I've used acrylic paints and didn't clean it immediately. And so I had to come back and take it apart completely, dig out some paint and all that kind of stuff. But I just want to show you real quick. If I change my camera angle here, go to, nope, not that one. I want that one. No. There we go. This is a piece of 2x6 or whatever. It's very quiet. It's running right now. I don't know if you can hear it or not. One of the things that I've learned to do in doing some coloring, and Matt's done a lot of the same thing. Should have blown all this dust out before. But one of the things you can do, if you want to bring out some grain, this pine doesn't have, I mean, it's got some basic grain, but I can see some ripple in it. So one of the things you can do, spray some black before you do, you probably don't want it to be black, but that'll get you started. And I'll generally give that just a few seconds. By using an airbrush, it dries pretty quick. And so, because you're blowing air at the same time, you could use a paper towel, you could use a rag, you could use just a regular brush. But by using an airbrush, you have the opportunity to blow air at the same time. And because these are water-based stains that I'm using, I just drop a little bit of water. I'm spraying it into some sawdust that's underneath the lathe just to clean it out a bit. And while I'm doing that, it gives that time to dry. I'm going to follow that up with a couple of things. One, I'm going to sand that just a bit. Well, let's go ahead and dump the bulk of that. There we go. I'm going to come back and sand this just a touch. And sometimes people want to know, well, why would you bother putting it on if you're going to sand it right back off? Well, part of the reason is, especially in a piece that's been sanded nicely already, that dark stain is going to soak into the softer parts of the wood, not the harder parts. And it's going to leave some. Now, I would definitely go further than that. You can see it's sanded back a good bit, but I would go even further. I would take it to where there barely is any on there. And then just for our sake tonight, I'm going to blow on some, this is called Flame. It's kind of an orange. But you can see there, I've got a multicolor effect very quickly, very simply, that is hard to beat. Once that dries and I put a little finish on it, it'll bring the colors out even more. And so it'll be, you can kind of see, you can see some of the ripple going across. The grain is this direction. It's got some ripple going across that way. You don't see that in pine very often, but you got it in that piece. And that's brought out because of the black. But the whole point is the, there we go. The airbrush, this piece here, for about $40, you're into an airbrush instead of having to pipe in from your big compressor or buying an airbrush compressor, one of those little small ones, and getting your airbrushes. And those can be from $15 a piece up, you can spend several $100s on an airbrush. I got an airbrush and a compressor, $40. It's not perfect. It's not fantastic. I'm never going to be spray painting t-shirts on the beach with it. Nothing like that. But I can apply stains and dyes, what have you. I can even spray acrylic paints that are made for a airbrush without any problem. It does a great job, and it gets me started. Get you started if you want to. Any questions on that?
Hey, Doug, I got a suggestion.
Okay.
If you don't like that little pink box, just use that as your test every time you change paints on your airbrush, and you can change it to whatever you want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've thought about even covering it up with Gorilla tape just to cover it.
What's wrong with pink? You can't pull off pink?
Oh, I've got an allergy. There's really nothing at all wrong with it. I just don't, it's not my favorite. Not my
But Doug,
favorite.
it looks so cute.
Well, that's one reason it sits up here on the shelf, and I never move it. That's the first time it's been
Y'all are
down since I
not
brought it
helping.
home.
Y'all are not helping poor Doug here and his allergy to pink.
Nah, not bothering me too bad.
They make some handy dandy stuff down at Ace Hardware over in the spray paint aisle.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
$4 or $5 a bottle.
You know, I've been using this 3D glitter fabric paint. I think that needs some glitter, dude.
Oh yeah, glitter.
Glitter eyes.
I think putting some pink
I think
glitter
that
on there
would
would be nice.
Well, it's pretty well coated in man glitter now. It stays right up here. This is its home and it doesn't move. So it's good. But anyway, I just when Dane was asking about stuff and we said something last week and I said, man, I've got a cheap, easy way for people to get into airbrushing. That's about as cheap as you can do it right there.
Right on.
Doug, do you
All right,
do a lot
anybody
of
else have any
airbrushing?
questions?
I'm sorry?
Do you do a lot of airbrushing?
Only when I'm coloring. You may have seen a while back, I did a goblet that I did the outside of the cup, a deep red. That was airbrushed black, sanded back, and then airbrushed with red on top of the black. And it really came out nice. But no, I don't do a lot. That's another reason I wanted to go with a cheap one because I'm not going to do a lot. I do have 2 other airbrushes and all the equipment so I can pipe in from my compressor. It's a matter of getting some pipe to run over here and then I'm good to go. And I'll probably do more if I were to do that. But for what little bit I do, this little thing does fine.
Even though it's pink.
Even though it's pink. I don't have to look at it. I don't have to dust it.
And you're not wearing it.
I'm not wearing, that's the biggest part. I'm not wearing it.
Uh-huh.
Just in your defense, Doug, up until 1918, when the fads changed, pink was for boys, blue was for girls.
And I don't care.
I think men look good in pink.
Most men
Pink's
do.
a real man.
My
to wear
wife
pink.
says
Yes, nothing wrong with pink.
when
My
I
wife
worked,
wants me to wear it. But
my wife dressed me a lot in pink shaded shirts.
yeah, yeah.
We might be getting into too much information here.
Hey, it's all in your masculinity, you know. Pull it off, you can pull it off.
Yep.
I'm not
All
typically
right,
dark
great
enough
stuff
to
there,
wear.
Doug. Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, $40 and you can be airbrushing. Not beautiful artwork, but you can do this kind of stuff.
We'll wait for your face to come back to natural colors. Right now, it's about the shade of your shirt.
Right now, it's the color of white with his lights.
All right, let's go back to Captain Eddie, and then we can do a couple of gallery items.
Boy, this has been good. A little bit of too much information in some areas, but it's been very good, very good. I'm interested. Did you see that airbrushing thing that Doug just showed us? If you're into pretty much anything you're turning and you want to put a sealer on, a quick sealer, 50-50 sealer is my belief. I like 50-50, which is deft lacquer satin sealer, which I get at Ace Hardware store or PPG paint stores. And I cut it 50-50 with lacquer thinner. Now, if you take that 50-50 and put it in that little cheap airbrush thing that Doug's got right there, and you just get back away, and really, you want to get back away from that piece while it's on your machine and hand spin the machine and just like that. And it does make that noise. And you put that little coat on it, that will seal up that stuff. It keeps the dirt off of it, brings out the grain, gives the color. It raises the fibers of the wood. So then you take your Scotch-Brite pads or your Teflon pads, whatever you want to call them, and you buff off the high points, go another coat. And you can almost build up a finish with it. Now, that finish won't last. It won't hold up the skin oils and all worth a darn, but it will last to a degree. But it'll give you a basic coat. And it's a good starting point for almost all finishes. Now, even if you like to go over the top of it with 3408 or Starbond CA glue or whatever you wish, that sealer can still go on. And it's, to me, when you start putting a finish on, you have to have a basic starting point. You have to be able to see where you're going. And when you do the sealer, that's it. When I worked in the cabinet shop 60 years ago, when you came in, one of our guys, if you asked how is color going to be, just wet it, lick on it, or wet it. And people get grossed out. And he says, but that's what happens. That's what raises the grain, brings up the color and the accent, makes it pop. So when you do that sealer, it makes it pop and you get an idea of it. The worst thing you can do, Turners, is get these all finished, hit it with a finish and realized, I have all these tears, all these grooves, all these marks. Where did that divot come from? Talking to Tommy the other day, one of my students, he said, what is that? I said, you tore the wood. You can't sand past it. It's torn a 1/16 of an inch deep. It was cedar in a way it tore it out. It's just the fact that he didn't slice the wood, he gouged it out. So if you hit it with a spot of sealer, you'll see that it'll stand out. It'll show you. It'll give you an idea what the finish is going to look like. So it's a great idea. I love it. I wouldn't get the pink one like Doug did, but you gotta kind of go with the flow.
When you don't have a choice, you don't have a choice.
Yeah,
it's the only color it comes in.
Yeah,
and you can
could
change
always
the
paint
color,
it.
folks. Yeah.
You can always paint it.
you can always just not look at it. That's the other part about it. Doug's got it up on the shelf where it doesn't bother anybody, which is good.
I got
Doug, if
tired
you
of
do-
I got tired of the ugly paint coming off of my high-end tool rest.
Yeah,
I painted my tool rest purple,
I love it.
Yeah, I like that.
and I'm sure everybody knows which tool rest that is, but their paint sucks.
Well, maybe you didn't buy the paint.
Same with that one there. It's silver because that black that was on there just, it just comes right off. Whenever your finish hits it, or you go to wipe it off with natured alcohol or WD-40 or whatever you're using to clean your equipment, and the paint just wipes right off. Or I was fortunate enough to get 4 tool rests from this company over a period of several years, and each one had a bad paint job. But I don't think that's the case.
Well, you got to think that the paint job on the tool rest wasn't the important part of their overall package.
Well, of course not.
No,
Well,
it wasn't. Just like we just talked about.
Quality.
Right, we
You need
talked
to
about
paint one.
the bearings just now, but they changed the grade of the bearings. A lot of times, I have folks call me. I want to get into getting into wood turning, and I want to get a good cheap lathe. Those words don't go together. Good, cheap. They don't work
Don't
together.
exist. That's an oxymoron.
You got to take something out to bring the number down, and in the old days, and I've had some lathes out here that were made back in the 20s and 30s. I could go to the auto parts store and get replacement bearings because there wasn't such a wide selection of bearings, and they all got kind of standardized to work out. And I could go get bearings for the Delta and the Milwaukee and such. Then we got down a line to where that was a cost item. And if somebody needed to bring the cost down another point or so, they'd find how to shop the bearing for a cheaper bearing. Because if it's running really great when you get it, after that, is it user abuse or whatever that will wore it out? You know, so that's when you look for good cheap, it's not going to happen. I've got somebody asking me now about buying a lathe, and I said, here's the key word. How much is it going to cost you to fix it? Not how much it's going to cost you to buy it. How much is it going to cost you to fix it? Because if you have to wait a week to 10 days to get a belt, and you're going to pay $20 freight to get a belt from a major manufacturer because they picked the belt that you can't get somewhere else because it was a great deal for them. Did you get a good deal? So when you're shopping your tools, look at what it'll take to fix them. I get nuts about it. I go to McMaster Car, go to Granger, MSC Direct. I quadruple check when I'm needing to buy parts for my lathe or my equipment, just like bearings. Me and my Grommet and bearing, I want to find the right bearing, and I'm not going to save a nickel. I am not. I'm going to move up from what I was looking at, because that nickel is going to be the nickel that's coming out of my pocket forever. So, hey, remind y'all that we still have a couple of challenges out there. One is Freedom Pens. I hadn't seen Professor Rowe in here tonight, but we're still collecting Freedom Pens. It's Doug Rowe, former Sergeant Doug Rowe, and he's got a project with his troops who are getting ready to hit the sand again, and he's looking to collect some Freedom Pens to give them these guys. And that's a gift from the people that they are protecting when they go out to protect us. So if you could turn a Freedom Pen, be great. If you need information where to send it, it's on our website, the world's greatest website for wood turning. On our website, you'll find the addresses where you can send your Freedom Pens directly to our contacts that put them directly into the hands of the troops. No rigmarole, no bureaucrats, nothing else. It goes right to the guys that put them in their hands, which matter. And it's important that we do so. He's got a goal that we'd like to get there. Also, we have a photo challenge, which means our challenges don't have any prizes except the goodness you get in your heart, the little warm feeling, because you get to show us your work, and there's nobody done anything any better. Trust me. You get to show us your work, and we love to see what you do. We want to see plates and platters for Labor Day. Yeah, that's right. Plates and platters. See what you come with. Birdhouse Bob's in the house. Bob, we want to see one done by you, a plate or a platter with a little ornamentation. I say a little, Bob, let's not hurt their minds a little bit, okay?
Let's see if I can stretch it for you.
All right. Just stretch them a little bit, because you can play with a platter, and there's so much you can do with a plate or a platter, from burning in lines to surface embellishments to colors to engraving, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You have all these versatile finishes that you can play with by putting them into a plate or a platter. And what's the difference? Well, you start out making a platter, and it comes out too small, it's a plate. So just have a little fun with it. And we've seen some beautiful ones tonight, some lovely work. And if you've got something to show off tonight, this is the place to do it. We call it Gallery, and it's where you can show your work. And remember, we have a no but guarantee. Here's the deal, folks. If you're new to the club, you owe to the club. You show something here, there's absolutely no buts permitted. You cannot say, I show something. How do you like this? Oh, I like it, but. Nope, no but. No but. That's the rule. It's your work. We love it. We want to see it. I am not qualified to critique your work. I don't know about you, but you got somebody, you got some stuff, got some stuff?
Yes, sir.
Who we got?
Mr. Harber. We got Matt.
Mr. Harber?
First things to show here is this. I showed this in the demo, but I'm going to share it here. This is the little thing that I keep on my tailstock quill. The inner ring is the jaws, the inner diameter for the tenon. The outer ring, the bigger ring, is the outer diameter for the recess, and that's what I use to measure up my tenons when I'm turning them or my recesses.
That's a nifty idea.
So that fits in that. Okay, so from the earlier goblet discussion, this piece here is a natural edge goblet, silver maple. I don't know if y'all can see, the grain on this, but it is pretty. And in terms of the discussion, because you're using the natural edge, it's the same diameter on both ends. And this piece here is also another goblet. And the diameter of my base here is ever so slightly larger than the upper rim. But this works. Now I wanted to show y'all something with this. So let me put my little makeshift table up here. And watch what happens when I smack it down on the table.
Yes.
See that wobble?
Got a little whip to it.
Yeah, it's just like a 1/8 of an inch here, so it's super thin. But this is cherry, and I don't know if y'all can see
Glad
that
it didn't
grain.
break on you.
Yeah,
Beautiful grain.
yeah, I love the grain on this. It's just so pretty. The cherry is one of my favorite woods to turn. One of my light reading books. Okay, so from last week's demo, I've sanded some of the pieces out. So this is one of the pieces I showed that I turned that afternoon. It's kind of washing out, isn't it? There we go.
There you go.
So, but it's got some interesting grain in it. Clearly there was a branch here. And this is the piece that I actually turned in the demo.
Yeah, that's real pretty, Matt.
Boy, did that come out nice.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still a little, I got a little bit of sanding to do here around this ring and some little broken out bits, and I'm doing a demo teaching a class this weekend, and part of the class is making little bookmark boxes. So I made a little box.
Look, Bob Moffat came over and decorated the bottom of it.
Yeah.
The lid. Yeah, how about that?
So, but the grain all matches up, and so that's just I teach how to make the little knobs, and it's just a basic box class. So, but that's fun
for you.
Yeah, have a little demo. So that's all for me tonight.
Right on. Thanks, Matt.
Nice.
Yep.
Thanks, Matt.
Yes. I'm sorry. You have a question, Brenda?
No, I said, thanks, Matt.
Oh, you're welcome. No
Yep.
problem.
Great job. Love your work.
Thanks.
Let's go to Charlie. Hey, Charlie.
Hello. I didn't remember
Gotcha.
if I'd put it in or not. That's why I put it in again.
Oh, no worries.
I was so interested in all the stuff everybody was showing, I couldn't remember. This is a trip down my memory lane for old movies. I made a bunch of gnomes. Oops. Hey, it's stick together.
That one ran away.
Their tops, hats are from characters out of movies. Charlie Chan playing, I can't remember what the character's name was. They played the little Chinese detective. Cecil and Beanie. And it does turn.
Sweet.
Yeah. Put a bearing on that.
That's off the Avengers. I don't remember who this character was, but he was in a cartoon all the time. A Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Foghorn Leghorn?
No, Marvin the Martian. Marvin the Martian.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go with that.
And that
Where
was
is my implodium detonator?
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Okay.
Cool.
my favorite. One of the workers out of the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh, cool.
I was gonna say Flash Gordon, but all right.
Flash Gordon didn't smoke a pipe.
No, not Flash Gordon, but one of the characters did.
Oh, yeah. That was all of them. And then a couple years ago, I made my wife a little pill box. She lost it. So I made another one.
Cute.
Very nice. Proper
But you
acorn.
can't make just one.
No, you can't.
I hadn't been in my shop for quite a while because of the heat. So I made several various boxes.
Cute. I like the shape on that one.
That's like ice cream pail.
Nice job, Charlie.
Another acorn. Some of them I just drilled, some of them I turned out.
That's something we need a demo on, is how to make a proper acorn box.
I don't know if they're proper, but
No, yours look good.
They look good.
that's all
Looks
I
like
had.
an acorn. Looks like an acorn.
Most of them, the bottoms are oak with silver maple for a top.
Beautiful.
Very good.
Very nice.
That's it.
What else you got, Charlie?
That's it. I got no more.
Are you sure?
Sure. I'm
Nothing ran
sure.
away from you? Nothing ran away?
No, I don't see them rolling around. Dogs are laying
All
there.
right. All right, I'm just checking.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, let's go to Joaquin. Hey, buddy.
Joaquin.
Okay, all right.
Got
Hey,
you.
Joaquin.
All right, hello there. You on there, Cade? I'll just
Yeah.
start off with this first then. This is my lotus bow, but it didn't work out.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. I had it in a lathe. I went into the back of it with the wrong tool. I went in with a real sharp angled spindle gouge. It broke a piece off here. It didn't fit good enough to glue it back in to do it. So I just give up on it. And then I thought, well, why didn't you put a bottom on it? So when I go out tomorrow, I'll just put a foot on the thing and leave it like it is.
Mm-hmm.
But
You
it's
could.
it's real
looks
cool how
cool.
you did that and the gluing up. Yeah.
Thanks. You could use glam chuck, re-chuck it up in a glam chuck, turn that off and round it and make like a color contrasting pedestal. That'd be cool. And then it's a three-sided bowl with a pedestal. That you can salvage it.
Yes, I give up today though. I said, oh, I ain't got time to mess with it. And I just took it out of the jam chuck and said the heck with it. And I thought, well, big dummy. We can finish this thing and make something out of it.
Yeah. Nice wood. What's the wood? Zebra wood or
marble wood?
Marble wood. Yeah, that's what I
marble
thought.
wood or Guncalo.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Kate had this class several months ago, and I turn a lot of cues myself, but I've never done this particular one. So I rented the video from him and watched it, and his glue joining was impressive to me, and how to get rid of the glue. And appreciate what you do, bud.
Thanks, Joaquin. Appreciate it.
Last week, y'all was showing some elf tools. I wish I could take credit for this one here, but a friend, John Lovelady, made this one for me. And he put broom bristles on the back end of it, clamped in there for cleaning it after you do the cutting with your
smart
and
built-in toothbrush.
Yeah.
Smart.
Absolutely.
And the primary rule with those brushes, if whether you're using like bristles like that or a normal paintbrush, is you can't use plastic. You've got to use natural, like either hair or straw, because the plastic will melt into the textures.
It sure will.
We find that out when we try it the wrong way.
So that Saturday,
might be
a couple of
turning too
guys
fast.
asked me to teach the Richard Journey for y'all who don't know what this is. You know, it's you can change it to all these holes and get different centers on it. And so they asked me to teach this class. So we had a couple of lathes going. I had 3 guys and a lady, Brenda. And so I started out with this style, you know, just got a little dip in the top where the hole is. Brenda did good. The guys didn't. And we have learn and turn. We've had learn and turn on the 4th Saturday for the last 9 years. And I always prefer teaching the girls, the ladies, because they listen. The guys don't always listen. And so next I did this one here. And Brenda's come out good. None of the guys did though. They couldn't stay on the line for making these beads. Said, okay. So then it ventured off into this style here. This is a piece of Texas ebony, and this is magnesite gemstone inlaid into the grooves.
Wow, very nice.
Nice.
Brenda had to leave. She'd probably done good on this, but the guys, they blew this one up too.
Beautiful.
So, and then I've got this one here that it's it's got a bee, a bumblebee. This is an old Christmas tree trunk. It's got a bumblebee burn on it.
Cute.
The other side has the dragonfly.
That's cute.
So
Nice.
my wife and her sister says, you're making bracelets, you're making pendants for the girls this year for Christmas. So I'm getting ready for that.
Nice job.
That's all I got.
Very nice.
Right on.
Very
Thank you,
nice.
Joaquin. Appreciate it.
All right, let's go back to Doug. He's got the finished airbrush piece here.
All right. Eddie started talking about the sealer and all, and I just wanted to jump on it real quick. I put some sealer, then put some lacquer on it. So you can begin to see some real nice ripple in there. Not
Yeah.
bad for just throwing it on.
Beautiful.
And it's 2x4.
Yeah.
You should turn that into a bowl or a plate. Turn it into a plate.
Well, yeah, I've got a stack of it here that's what the whole thing is for. I turned several plates and just square plates, and they really haven't done anything. And so I just have stopped. And but yeah, I could do some and use the black and red on it and have a good time, or black and all the colors. Got several.
Right. Good stuff. Right on. Thank you, Doug.
Turquoise works well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love me some turquoise. All right, let's go to Howard. Hey, Howie.
Hey, Howard.
Oh, hello.
Now we got you.
You got me now?
Roll Tide. Not.
Hey, Howard.
Roll Tide, yeah. I had a piece of walnut, and so what I did, I went through the bottom, put a tenon on this side and hollowed this part out, and then put the bottom back on with a tenon. And then I drilled this part out, finished it out. So it's just oil finish. I don't know if you can see it.
Very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Very nice.
That's nice.
What is that, antique oil?
What type of oil?
Mimax antique oil. I
Oh,
use that all the time. Yeah, I like that. Been using it for 40 years, so it's been real good for me. But anyway, there's the bottom.
Very nice.
Nice. Yes. Very nice.
And then show that urn. Are you
The
going to
what?
show that urn? Are you going to show that threaded urn?
Oh, the one I posted?
Yeah.
No, it's up in my shop.
Oh.
Well, anyway,
Next week.
but I got something that I got a low piece here. This is
Oh,
red
nice.
repair.
Oh, that's nice.
And so I got one of these cup burrs that make these little holes, and if you keep it on long enough, it'll go in and burn and leave a cone, or I mean a spear. But anyway,
Pretty cool.
Wow.
That is cool. It looks good.
How thick are your walls on that?
well, it had to be quite thick because I was putting these grooves in here, and I didn't want to go into
Right.
so it's probably about a little over a quarter, maybe 5/16, something like that.
Okay.
It's not quite 3/8. And I got kind of worried on a few of these, and because I didn't.
Yeah,
go
I've done
all the
a
way
few of
through.
them where you do the grooves on there, and you're like wondering, like, oh, did I not go far enough, or did I go too far? Yeah.
Yeah.
One more pass.
I know, right?
I got a bad habit of getting real.
It out.
Yeah, I got a bad habit of getting them real thin. Sometimes it go right through the side, so
right.
I had to really temper myself on this, and I scraped the whole thing with a wire brush, circular, a wire wheel, and so anyway.
Have you put
Anyway.
a light bulb in there and see how thin it is? See how close you came?
Well,
Have you put a light bulb in it?
yeah, it's about probably an eighth or a little bit less than an eighth on some of this.
Yeah.
So I was
Good job,
scratching.
Howie.
All right, thank you.
Good job.
Very nice.
Thanks, Howard.
All right, let's go to. Who are we gonna pick? Let's go to Kelly. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
I
Hey,
hadn't
Kelly.
done one, I hadn't done one before, so I went ahead and made a bowl in a bowl.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
nice.
you nailed that one.
heck yeah.
That's nice.
It's a
Very
Chinese
neat.
elm, local wood. And,
Nice
Is
chip
it?
and dip bowl.
yeah, and I'm doing a run of acorns.
Oh my
There you go.
goodness.
So these are the little acorns,
Oh, you know how to make an acorn too.
and this
There
is
you go.
actually
Ready?
Right. Of course.
Oh my goodness.
There you
Well,
go.
that looks like a good demo to me.
That's
I
what I
know,
was.
right?
Yeah.
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 I'll be happy to watch you do it.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Kelly.
There's another
Look at
one,
that.
Nice, Kelly.
Very
pretty good
nice.
size.
Oh,
I
that's
like
nice.
the top.
See the texture.
Nice
I usually
texture.
use mesquite for the tops, and I don't put any finish on them. And I rep them up, make them. I don't know how well you can see that texture, but
Looks
it's like
nice.
cross pattern
Barely
on the
can see it.
texture, real. So then there's the bottom piece, and then of course they're all.
How are you getting
What-
that
what?
texture on the top there, Kelly?
What's that?
Using the toe.
How are you getting the texture on the top?
I do different things. I have like a little burr that I have with the magnet and a bearing in the bottom of it that I do sometimes. This I'm actually using. Well, I forgot the name. I'll go grab it. It's the one with the wheel and the spikes. And so I just turn the lathe down real
Oh,
low.
like the Wagner knurling tool?
It's a little tiny one. It's like the Sorby. It's the micro Sorby
Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
with the little red handle.
Yes.
The micro spiraling tool. Yeah.
Micro spiral. And so I'll just go one direction real slow, back and forth a few times until it digs in there real good. Turn it around, go the other direction a few times, and you get this really cool cross grain. I mean, it really looks like an acorn lid, you know?
Yes.
The hatch. The
That's
hatch mark.
the decorating elf, I believe.
Well, you can
So
get
almost
this.
like
You can
a
get the
spade
same
shape?
texture with the. You can get the same texturing with the elf and the spiraling tool if you're careful. So,
Yeah.
but he said he was using the spiraling tool. So.
Oh, let me go grab it.
Yeah, I used to spiral, one of the a
Oh,
2 mil
yeah, those are the
fire on the
mini
wheel from the Sorby and just
I got it
switch
right
angles
here,
for the
actually.
hatch.
Yeah, the
I have it
micro.
right here on my wall.
Yeah, that's the micro. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one. That's a good little
Sorby
And I
micro
just,
spiral.
I'll set it down, turn it to the side, turn the lathe down real low, come around real slow one direction, then flip it, go around the other direction, and you get it. Like I said, it's like a really cool quilted deep,
Cross hatch.
like cross hatch. It's fantastic. I mean, it looks like a real acorn.
Yes.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks.
Nice work.
Right on. Yeah, let's go to Jack.
Okay, you got me?
Yes, sir.
There I am. There I am. I noticed that there's a lot of fellow Texans on there tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot of Texans on here.
Yeah.
Every
So I figured-
meeting.
And then I saw Joaquin talking about showing one that he made that he broke a foot off of. It reminded me of something I made a long time ago. I used to make a lot of stuff when I still lived in Arizona, sold in a church boutique there every Christmas. I did pretty good. But it reminded me of this piece I made. I don't like to paint my pieces. I like them to all be natural wood. And I made this piece, one piece, I broke the foot off of it. And so my wife did a lot of craft painting at that time. So I broke the foot off. I said, well, even if I glue it back on, make it nice and smooth, I still can't sell that. It's got a crack. So I made it and I gave it to her to paint for me. And this is what it was. It broke off one of these feet right across here. So I just gave it to her. I put it back on, made it nice and smooth. I can't right now. I was looking at it and I can't figure out which one of these feet were broken off. But I love the way she painted it with the contrasting red and black.
Looks great.
Oh, cool.
I don't know what kind of paint it was. She painted it. I don't know what kind of paint. She did a lot of craft.
Hand paint or airbrush?
No, hand painted. She hand painted the whole thing. She did a good job of painting that thing.
Oh, that's very nice. Very crisp.
That's nice.
I used to try a lot of challenging things back in those days, but I'm too lazy to do it now. Joaquin reminded me of this piece, and I didn't know if I even still had it.
Yeah.
It's on the shelf in there.
Fantastic.
Right on, Jack. Thanks for showing
Very
that.
good.
Beautiful.
That's it.
Very nice.
Great. All right. Well, let's go back to Captain Eddie. We're at the top of the hour, the end of the program. So, Captain Eddie.
Well, it's the end of the formatted program, if there is one. But it doesn't end. Don't go away, because at 9:00 Central Time, I disappear. Yes, I can do that. But this keeps going on, because there's some interesting things that crop out the shadows after that. And this is your chance to add on and expound and whatever you want. And this is where all the little secrets come out, because that's what we're here for, the little secrets. Tonight we had a couple of real great mini demonstrations, and that's what we like to have. Little tidbits from your shop that tell us what's going on, what you've come up with, time-saving devices, labor-saving devices, jigs and rigs, ideas, techniques. And if you take any of these items, or more than one of these items, put them all in a little bunch, you come out with a great project. You really do. And that's why we get together, to sit on the tailgate, share, tell stories, and see if we can do to improve the world of woodturning. You joined us because you're part of worldwidewoodturners.org. We have the world's greatest woodturning website. We have the world's greatest meeting. This is number 200. Meeting number 200, folks. This is a milestone in our path. And we're just getting started. And tonight, yes, tonight, we discussed expanding the meetings. Yes, we have. Yeah, Matt Harber, go ahead and talk about it and see if we don't follow up on it. Yeah, we will. Because we're going to, this is just, all right. But we had a good time tonight. I look forward to seeing y'all next week. We have some more demonstrations lined up. And there's always room for you. The tailgate's wide open. If you want to come in, join us next week or week after and show us something. And remember, whatever you share with us, somebody said it earlier about, would there be an interest in it? About the threading thing. would there be an interest in it? Would enough people? We have to understand that what we do right now stays forever, because our master webmaster takes it and puts it all on our website. So all these demonstrations, all these tips, these tricks, these ideas, the chat, everything else is always on our website, and that's where you can go find it. In fact, because I didn't know if Donald's here too. Oh, Donald's here. Donald's here from Larvick, Australia. Donald, tell you right now is the key to this whole thing is save the chat. Go to the chat and save it, and you'll get everything that's in the chat tonight saved on your personal computer. But if you miss it, it'll be on our website. That's it, folks. I'm Captain Eddie Castelin. Thank you for joining us for another wonderful meeting of worldwidewoodturners.org. We will see you again next week. And above all else, please be safe. Take care.
Thanks, Ed. We'll see you next time, Eddie.
See you then.
Good night, everybody.
Night, y'all.